The Natural Empire of the Sea Dragon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Tauren Chieftain. Attilan practiced a plant activation technique in the Garden of the Vine Girl for half a day, and finally he was able to activate a vine with basic intelligence, and the consumption during the action was stable. After the activation technique was lifted, the vine absorbed nutrients from the earth to recover, and gained slight benefits from the action after activation, proving that Attilan's plant activation technique can basically be applied to practical operations. Auntie, I'm leaving first. I'll send it to you when I make new magic dishes. Wait a minute, you also need materials to try magic dishes. I just looked for them and found that I have some good ingredients here. You can take them all back. The vine girl hung a package woven from vines and leaves on Attilan's neck. Okay, let's go. Back in Kingland Town, the remaining magic dishes have been distributed as rewards by the goats and fish priests, according to everyone's contributions during this period. This magic dish is nothing to Attilan, but for the fishmen laborers may become fishmen warriors, and the warriors have the opportunity to become team leaders. If the team leader can't beat the fishmen barbarians, don't even think about snatching the position of the warrior leader. In fact, the fishmen tribe is a burden to the barbarians. In the past, they were the main force of hunting. The prey they hunted with great effort had to be shared with the old and weak in the tribe who had nothing to eat, which affected their growth. It was precisely because this was a united tribe that they were not driven away from the edge of the people by the bear people. Whether going north or south, it was actually not a good choice. The Rhine forest in the south was full of tribes abandoned by the swamp dragons. In order to compete for survival resources, they fought each other, and the elite warriors trained would be recruited back by the dragons. Over and over again, in the muddy days, I don't know how many tribes were quietly annihilated in this process. Kingland Town is short of manpower and needs to be recruited, otherwise the project of farming in the southwest wasteland cannot be carried out. Attilan plans to let the half-goat man take the apprentice to scout first. If there is a suitable tribe, recruit them directly and let them build a new town at the junction of the forest and the wasteland, responsible for providing flour and beer, relying on food supplies to recruit tribes in the wilderness, and finally try to occupy the entire wasteland as a territory. The southwest wilderness is not a suitable place for a king to build his hegemony. Although Attilan did not go too deep into the wilderness to check the situation, his sensitivity to water elements as a sea dragon made him discover a big problem. The speed of water loss in the wilderness is a bit too fast. The lake actually extends a river to the southwest wilderness. The speed of water flow is like a fire burning underground, burning all the water in the wilderness. The temperature in the wilderness is normal, but the drought is more serious. It is a big problem that there is no way to retain water. Therefore, Attilan plans to open up farmland on the periphery where the invisible force of the wilderness is not greatly affected. He couldn't help but sigh that this continent is really strange. The swamp dragon created an inland ocean of 800 miles from north to south and thousands of miles from east to west in the center of the continent. There is another area in the southwest that cannot retain water. The people living on this continent are really suffering. According to Attilan's calculations, even if he built a canal to divert water from the lake to irrigate the farmland, the area suitable for cultivation should not exceed 100,000 acres, even if there are fruits, nuts and meat produced in the forest. Attilan decided that he could only feed 50,000 people at most. Some areas of the desert have already lost their vegetation and are beginning to turn into deserts. The center must have been a desert long ago. Attilan's first reaction was whether there were blue dragons or bronze dragons living in the desert. He gave up the idea of occupying the entire wilderness. The last time he explored areas suitable for farming, he relied on the water elemental vision of the ocean dragon and flew very high, so he didn't know how many tribes lived in this area. There would be no tribes living near the river that extends to the southwest. Because everyone comes here to drink water, living nearby is more likely to become a target of prey. It is better to find a barren hill. When the goat man heard Attilan say that he wanted him to take 2 apprentices to explore the tribes living in the southwest, the area of nearly 500 square kilometers was in a rectangular shape, which meant that they had to go deep into the wilderness for dozens of kilometers to the end of the river. You're running so far, do you want the 3 of us to die outside? We won't have enough manpower to develop such a large area of land in 5 years, right? Although you are a giant dragon, can't your plan be so big? It seems that this is the reason. Attilan always likes to look at problems with a long-term perspective, ignoring the difficulties that will be needed in the actual operation. How much farmland do you plan to open up for the first time? I will replan a suitable reconnaissance range according to your plan, Attilan said awkwardly. 200 acres of wheat fields. The half-goat gritted his teeth and looked at him, persuading himself not to be angry. 200 acres, why don't you just move some trees to cover the farmland? Hiss, it's really a good idea, but it's not very friendly to him as the Dragon Master. Just treat it as training and plant activation. We still need to investigate. We need to understand the situation of the surrounding tribes. Those poor guys are not worth robbing, but I don't want them to ruin my wheat fields. Got it? Attilan found the old fishman again and asked, how many people can you spare to open up the farmland? The old fishman was very embarrassed. To be honest, the number of fishmen was really not enough. He even arranged heavy physical labor for the pregnant fishman. The belly was the hope of their whole village. Seeing his embarrassment, Attilan was a little annoyed. At least spare one person and let him bring farm tools to level the farmland. In the future, he will live there for a long time and act as a watcher of the wheat field. Yes, the old fishman also breathed a sigh of relief and decided to go back to give the pregnant fishman extra food and increase the number of the little fishmen as soon as possible. Now that there is enough food, the little fishman can become a labor force in 2 or 3 years. The next morning, the half-goat man set out with his apprentice. Daytime is a good time for reconnaissance. Not only is the light and vision good, but more importantly, the vigilance of the creatures is not as high as at night, and it is not easy to be discovered. Attilan also began his training. He planned to use trees to enclose a field of at least 1,000 acres, planting 10 to 20 trees a day, and it would be completed in less than half a year. By then, the average tree resources in the forest should be back to the safety line. He had just activated 5 trees in a row, barely blocking the road between the 2 hills leading to the lake, when he saw the goat man running back in panic. Oh no, something happened. Attilan hurriedly went up to ask, what happened? We just set out not long ago. There were no tribal activities around here before. I was not vigilant enough, so both apprentices were captured, and I escaped alone. Who did it? It was a group of minotaurs. Their chief said that this area will be their territory in the future. If you want to save the little fish man, you can exchange it for twice the weight of fresh fish. Attilan laughed in anger. Fresh fish, he is quite good at eating. Chapter 27 The whole army attacks. Attilan narrowed his eyes, his pupils revealing infinite murderous intent. 200 kilograms of fresh fish is indeed not much, but the dragon will not accept the blackmail of the Minotaur. Mep, according to your estimation, how strong is the Minotaur chief? Strong and strange. Minotaur has the most suitable talent profession for them, but the chief feels like a pure barbarian. He is followed by a wild buffalo spirit. He broke my illusion by holding the totem pole. He should be stronger than me. Attilan thought that the Minotaur chief should be a level 10 barbarian. Even if it is higher, it will not be much higher, at most level 12. The challenge level of the Minotaur is level 3, which may be converted into a professional level of 18. Attilan's dragon challenge level has been raised to level 5 due to the growth and training of the dragon body. The druid level is now level 5. Even if his professional level is level 15, he can't beat the damn Minotaur. 50 gold coins. Do you think we can ask the Horse King to fight? If we only ask the Horse King to fight, we may not be able to take down the Minotaur tribe. Before I ran away, I roughly observed the Minotaur besieging us. There were about 20 of them, all holding big wooden sticks, like a tribe of all barbarians. I think we need to hire at least 10 more centaurs to fight. But we don't have enough money to hire centaurs to fight for us, and centaurs ran to live in the forest because they don't want to get involved in endless mutual killing. Attilan rubbed his 2 paws. You go find the tiger man. She will not refuse to help if your apprentice is captured. I will go to persuade the Horse King. Our goal is just to rescue the 2 fishmen. This is a just war. He suddenly remembered that he hadn't read the magic material package that the Fusion gave him. Using magic food to express sincerity should be able to persuade the Horse King to help. Let's go back to Kingland Town first. Let's make some magic food for the Tiger Man and the Horse King as a reward. Returning to Kingland Town as quickly as possible, Attilan opened the package and saw that the content inside was too rich. The Fusion seemed to have used some magic to expand the capacity of the package. Unfortunately, after opening it, the space magic of the package was invalid. The ingredients prepared by Fusion include a bottle of applesauce, a flower-scented ham of a certain magical beast, another can of golden honey, pecan kernels, a small barrel of wine, and a few green bird eggs. The applesauce is wrapped in flour as a sandwich, and the surface is coated with honey and baked into golden apple pie. Cut the ham into small pieces and add it to the chicken soup made from pheasants. A little honey is used for seasoning. The golden oil floats on the surface of the chicken soup to arouse appetite. Stir the egg liquid into golden color and steam it in a pot. Then pour pecan kernels and honey into the stone pot for frying. Finally, pour it on the smooth and soft steamed egg, and the aroma is rich and tempting. The amount of wine is too small, and it is definitely not enough to drink it directly. First, mash the oranges to make a sweet and sour orange juice with half the volume of the wine, filter to remove impurities, and prepare an oak barrel to pour the wine and orange juice into it. Add an appropriate amount of honey, add ice cubes equal to the volume of orange juice, mix well. Sprinkle mint leaves on the surface as embellishment, and an iced flavored alcoholic drink is ready. If you are not afraid that the wine tastes too light and the horses are not satisfied, you can actually add more orange juice and ice cubes, and then it will completely turn from a flavored wine into a flavored drink. Attilan and the goatman each set off with 4 dishes. Success or failure depends on this. When the horse king saw that it was Attilan who came, and he was holding a large bag of things in his hand, he knew that a big trouble was waiting for him. After all, he was the disciple of Master Gauge, and he still had to listen to Attilan's needs first. As for whether it can be done and what to do, they have to discuss it. Magic food, Horse King, am I good to you? The Horse King smiled calmly, but he wanted to send him away behind closed doors. Try it quickly. Although he didn't want to help, the magic food was really great. Not only was the taste the best food the Horse King had ever eaten, but his body seemed to be a little lighter under the nourishment of magic. Horse King, I only sent 2 murlocs to the wilderness to explore for intelligence, and a group of minotaurs captured them and asked me to give them twice their weight of fresh fish in exchange, the Horse King said lightly. It's just some fresh fish, there's no need to fight with them. Fight. We must fight. This time it's fresh fish. Next time they want more, should I give them all? We must hurt them and let them know who is the master of this land. These magic dishes and these 50 gold coins are my reward. I hope the Horse King can bring his people to help me get the murlocs back. It's just to get the people back, not to kill a certain number of minotaurs. All the murlocs under my command who can fight will participate in this battle. They sincerely serve me as their master, so I can't give up any murloc. The Horse King is a level 13 ranger. He alone can stop the Minotaur chieftain. With the Tiger Men and Centaur Rangers holding back the other elite Minotaurs, Attilan can take the murlocs to kill the other Minotaurs. Good. You are very courageous, but we will not resist the charge of the Minotaurs head-on. We can only rely on you and the murlocs in this regard. The Horse King is straightforward. Leave the frontal attack to us. For a while, the table was filled with the 2 people's cheerful laughter. The exchange time agreed by the Minotaur chief and the Goatman was the next morning, so the centaurs needed to act now. With 10 centaurs whose ranger levels were all above level 4, the Horse King rushed to the wilderness. Attilan also returned to Kingland Town and led all the murlocs to rush to the Minotaur territory. There were only 10 iron spearmen, and the rest were either holding bone harpoons or bows and arrows. The bow was an oak bow body, with a bowstring woven from vines, and the arrow feathers were from pheasants and wild ducks. The arrowheads were made of various bones of appropriate sizes, provided by wild boars, giant lizards, and big fish. The male murlocs held short weapons and lined up in 2 rows. The upright iron spears and bone forks looked barely decent. The female murlocs held bows and arrows and stood in 2 groups on the left and right behind the spearmen. Since being subjugated by Attilan, the old murloc has been conducting limited military training for the tribe according to his instructions. Now that 50 murlocs have quickly formed a battle formation, he realized that the training content was so effective. Bows and arrows are such high-end equipment, but they are not suitable for murlocs who are good at water battles. Swamp Dragon is also interested in limiting the tribes under his command to master equipment manufacturing knowledge. Attilan thinks that the bows and arrows are very simple, and they can't even make them. Are the wooden carts and fresh fish ready? People have been sent to the wilderness. They should be arriving soon by water. Dragon Lord, that is the wooden cart we made with great difficulty. It's a pity that it was destroyed like this. Attilan looked at the sky solemnly. In order to stop the charge of the Minotaurs, sacrifice is necessary. We can make another one after the card is destroyed. For this battle, he also specially returned to the forest with creeping spirits, just to reduce the casualties of the Murlocs and capture enough Minotaur slaves. He didn't intend to let this Minotaur tribe go. If the entrance to the wilderness was blocked, how could he develop his power? Beat the drums, march. Attilan coughed awkwardly after not hearing the drums for a long time. All troops, attack. Take the cowhide of the Minotaur and make a drum. Book recommendation, Fox Boss's new book, similar to the airship in Horizon, fused with the ultimate hand of Zelda. At the beginning, assemble an airship, sail in the sky, and meet Pokemon. He is an old daily article writer. If you like it, you can read it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, A Little Trick. In order to avoid the Minotaurs from discovering the smell of the centaurs in advance, the Horse King was rubbing the fresh fish on himself with his tribesmen in disgust. Although the method proposed by Attilan was a little disgusting, the Horse King knew it was indeed effective after smelling the pungent fishy smell. He subconsciously wanted to ask if there were other ways to cover up the smell. Then he saw the fishmen, under the command of Attilan, mixing water with oil to make mud and smearing it on their bodies. The Horse King ran over and asked, "Is this also to cover up the smell?" "Yes, the reason I brought these 200 kilograms of fresh fish is because of their fishy smell. Use the fishy smell to cover up the smell of your centaurs, and use the mud to cover up the fishy smell of the Murlocs. The sources of the fishy smell will only be fresh fish and Murlocs. As long as there are more Murlocs, the Minotaurs will not be afraid as long as there are not hundreds of Murlocs fighting together, but it's different for you centaurs. The appearance of the smell of more than a dozen centaurs will definitely alert them, which is not conducive to a rescue operation." At this time the goatmen and the tigermen finally arrived. Looking at the goatmen with sweat on their foreheads, Attilan smiled and pointed to the mire. "Please, my trickster, your scent must have been remembered by the Minotaurs. Cover it up with mud, and you can successfully sneak into the Minotaur camp and rescue the apprentice." The half-goat man walked towards the mud pit helplessly, resolutely, and fearlessly. Halfway through, he suddenly turned his head and looked at the tiger man and said, "Tyr is going to sneak in with me. Do you want to wipe it too?" The tiger man glanced at the mud pit with disdain, raised his head proudly and said, "No, the monk has his own skills to eliminate the smell, and there is no need for such a low-end method." After saying that, the tiger man made a Zen seal, and her breath instantly merged with the surrounding environment. If you don't use your eyes, you will only subconsciously think that the tiger man is standing at a tree. With a little move, you can know whether it is there or not. Attilan didn't expect that this tigress would make such a great progress after he was angry and vomited blood last time. It seems that he must practice more diligently. Everything was ready. Attilan flew to the sky first. The barbarian fishman and 10-bone fork fishman pushed the cart and staggered towards the Minotaur camp. From time to time, some lake water full of fishy smell would be spilled from the wooden barrel to the ground, making the whole road filled with fishy smell, making it easier for the remaining fishmen and centaurs to sneak close to the Minotaur camp. They moved slowly just to buy time for the goatmen and tigermen. Seeing more than a dozen fishmen approaching the camp with tattered weapons, the two Minotaurs who were arranged to guard the gate laughed. "Look at these fishmen, holding these rags and trying to scare us. I doubt if they can pierce my skin." "Don't laugh, go and report to the chief. The fishmen are delivering fish." The fishmen barbarians parked the cart not far in front of the camp gate and asked all the fishmen to put up their weapons. According to the instructions, they should pretend to panic, but the fishmen laborers were really panicking. Most of them had no professional level and could only be considered as level 0 warriors. The Murlocs with a professional level of warriors all received new weapons made from the iron spearheads. Some of the Murlocs among the laborers trained hard because they envied the iron spears and successfully became level 1 warriors, but level 1 Murloc warriors were nothing in front of the 2.2-meter Tauren. If the opponent hit them with a stick, the Murlocs might break their bones and fall to the ground and die. The panic on their faces was real. The only one who was calm was the Murloc barbarian, although he was also likely to be unable to beat the Tauren guarding the gate. These Tauren guarding the gate were sent to guard the gate because they were the shortest, which meant that they were the weakest. Clans with insufficient intelligence always like to divide status according to height. For example, the Tauren chieftain, with a height of 3.5 meters, was as terrifying as a demon god to the Murlocs. When he walked out of the camp with white air coming out of his nostrils, his copper bill-like eyes glared at the Murlocs fiercely. "Listen, pathetic Murlocs, you have to send so many fresh fish every month, otherwise we will chase you to your tribe and beat everyone in your tribe to death with the totem poles in our hands. Do you understand?" The Murloc barbarian gnashed his teeth and looked at the Tauren chieftain. He finally understood why the other party asked for fresh fish in exchange for hostages, because the Tauren wanted to subdue them as slaves. "You want us to be your slaves? Dream on." Facing the unruly Murloc barbarians, the Tauren chieftain grinned with a ferocious and cruel smile, stomped his feet suddenly, and the earth shook like a small earthquake. "If it was in the water, I couldn't do anything to you Murlocs, but on the shore, can you Murlocs still escape?" At that moment, an angry and panicked roar came from the Tauren camp. "Oh no, the Murlocs have escaped." The face of the Tauren chieftain changed. "Idiot." Sure enough, the Murlocs at the door turned and ran away immediately after hearing the shouts, but they did not forget the fresh fish they brought. In a panic, the cart was unstable, and the wooden barrels filled with fresh fish fell from the cart, and the fresh fish and smelly water were scattered all over the ground. "Chase, we can't let these Murlocs run away." With the roar of the Tauren chieftain, all the Tauren in the camp, both men and women, came out in full force. What made them move was not the chieftain's orders, but the fresh fish jumping on the ground. Except for a few Tauren who knew to follow the chieftain's actions, the other stupid Tauren leaned over to grab the fresh fish and began to bite them, enjoying the sweetness of the fish meat. Seeing that the Tauren were catching up, the Murloc barbarians threw the wooden barrels filled with fresh fish to the sides of the road, and other Murlocs grabbed the wooden barrels filled with mucus and poured the mucus on the dirt road. After the Tauren stepped on it, some people were not used to the suddenly slippery road and fell down. The smelly mucus made them furious. They climbed up with their hands and feet, but fell down again after running a few steps. The amount of slime is limited, and the last barrier is the cart. But the cart didn't even last 2 seconds, and the Tauren chief waved the totem pole to smash the cart. At this time, he keenly felt something was wrong. Looking back, he found that there were only a few Taurens following him. Most of them ignored his instructions and were eating fish, and even fought for the fish. After all, they were a race with an intelligence of only 7, and a little trick made them lose their composure. The unique cunning characteristics of the race made the Taurens worry that if they caught up, others would stay and steal the fish, so they simply stopped to eat. Anyway, they were just some fishmen, and the chief would definitely be fine. In the sky, Attilan didn't expect his plan to be so useful. He thought that the fresh fish could only leave a few Taurens, but he didn't expect that nearly 20 were left, and there were 7 or 8 Taurens trapped by the slime. Only the real elite Taurens chased after him. According to the previous instructions, the fishmen barbarians began to talk trash. "Big stupid bull, can your hooves only run so fast? Aren't you going to beat me into meat patties and eat me? Why don't you chase me anymore? I think I should chop off your hooves and roast them." Sure enough, the Tauren chieftain's eyes turned red, and he rushed towards the Murloc barbarian with a roar. After chasing for dozens of meters, a series of arrows were shot at the Tauren chieftain. Even though he tried hard to wave the totem pole, he was still shot in the arm and chest by several arrows. The most deadly arrow was shot at his knee, which stuck his leg and prevented him from moving freely. Such a great archer can only be the Horse King. Despicable. Come and fight me if you have the guts. Please read, comment, reward and monthly ticket. Chapter 29 Cattle. With an arrow in the knee, the charge that the Tauren was so proud of could no longer be used. Seeing the chief being shot, the other Taurens were still very righteous and stepped forward to drag the chief away. What awaited them was a continuous rain of arrows from the centaurs. Even the weakest centaurs on the scene could shoot 50 such heavy arrows. Of course, there were not many centaurs with heavy arrows made of iron arrowheads and refined arrow shafts. The Horse King only carried 100 arrows. In order not to waste arrows, some centaurs were cunning and picked up the simple arrows of the fishmen next to them and shot them. Although the lethality and accuracy of these arrows were insufficient, they had a miraculous effect. If it was a heavy arrow from a centaur, they would not be able to turn around and run away so flexibly after hitting the Tauren. The simple arrows could not penetrate the muscles of the Tauren after shooting into the cowhide, but the pain was not less, because shooting this kind of arrow was labor-saving, and the centaurs shot faster and faster. After more than 10 arrows were stuck in their bodies, the Taurens were afraid that they were about to die. They decisively left the chief and ran away. Damn it, get back here. Even if he forced his tribe to change to barbarians, the Tauren could not change the cunning and meanness of the Tauren in his bones. As one of the few smart people in the Tauren tribe who got rid of the influence of cunning, the chieftain knew very well that cunning could only allow the Tauren to live a little longer, but the naturally short intelligence could not be achieved by relying on cunning. Only the barbarian profession could reshape the future of the Tauren. Low intelligence is a disadvantage in many professions, but it is different for barbarians. Rage is the source of power for barbarians. The lower the intelligence, the easier it is to get angry. At this moment, the Tauren chieftain was angry at being ambushed by the enemy, angry at being abandoned by his tribe, and angry at the bleak future of the Tauren. A layer of substantial red flames lingered on his body. He broke through. From level 10 to level 11. Level 11 barbarians are a watershed. They can gain the ability to continue to rage. In addition to fatal injuries, the rage of barbarians can allow them to continue fighting. Even after the health points are exhausted, they have the possibility of surviving by relying on their physique, but the price is the reduction of the upper limit of life. From this moment on, the Tauren chieftain pulled out the arrow from his knee, roared and strode towards the Horse King. His legs were as agile and explosive as if he had not been injured at all. The Horse King calmly ordered, "You go deal with the other Taurens, let Attilan and Tyr come to support me. I will hold the Tauren chieftain." Grabbing a handful of simple arrows, the Horse King shot an arrow. "Big fool, come and chase me." The Tauren chieftain, whose brain was filled with anger, just wanted to tear the Horse King apart. The ground was shaking when he ran. Relying on his powerful strength, his speed even briefly surpassed the Horse King. The Horse King did not dare to shoot arrows to provoke the Tauren again, for fear that the chieftain's anger would speed up and catch up with him and give him a stick, although he thought his melee skills were pretty good. But fighting with the barbarians in close combat is the least cost-effective. Just as the Horse King and the Tauren chieftain were playing the chase and escape drama, Attilan was killing the cattle in all directions, ruthless and iron-tailed. Of course it's impossible. This group of minotaurs were covered with lake water and mucus on the road, and they were very conductive. Attilan would be sorry for the carefully arranged scene if he didn't electrocute them. Of course, he used lightning breath and thunder wave together. If he was lucky, he could electrocute 2 or 3 minotaurs at a time, and if he was unlucky, he could at least electrocute 1. All the minotaurs stranded on the road were knocked down. As for the minotaurs who were eating fish, they finally realized that something was wrong at this moment. There was thunder and lightning in front of them, which was obviously not the style of their minotaurs. When they chased the main force forward, they found that they seemed to be the main force. It was drizzling in the sky, and the road became muddy for a while. The minotaurs didn't think there was anything wrong until they met the minotaurs who ran back. They found that the people in the tribe seemed to be missing some familiar faces. But their low intelligence made them not know what happened specifically. 20 or 30 minotaurs gathered together, and they had the confidence to go back and save the chief. Just when they wanted to save the chief, the wind started. The rain and wind became heavier and heavier, and the rain became more and more biting. A layer of fog gradually rose. In a very short time, the rain turned into snow, and the snow-white ice crystals began to freeze their bodies. The minotaurs finally realized the danger. They wanted to run, but they couldn't. They could only huddle together and try to resist a blizzard in this way. The blizzard didn't last long, but it was enough to freeze their bodies. With the physique of the minotaurs, they could recover as long as they were given a little time to move. Unfortunately, they didn't have time. The blood-sucking vines suddenly emerged from the soil and entangled the minotaurs' bodies, constantly seizing their physical strength and vitality, and the same was true for the minotaurs who were paralyzed just now. They disappeared because they were dragged to the bushes next to them by the blood-sucking vines to suck their blood. The unique toxins of the vines made it impossible for the tide prey to ask for help. This was just a small gadget cultivated by the vine girl, but when it was used on the minotaurs, it was discovered that the blood-sucking vines were really useful. Attilan was worried that he could not control the situation and wanted to take a safe measure. The bear people would definitely not participate in such things, so he had to ask his master's wife for help. The vine girl was protective of her shortcomings. She immediately took out the blood-sucking vines and handed them to Attilan, telling him that even if things were impossible, releasing the blood-sucking vines would give him time to retreat. As long as Attilan flew high, the minotaurs could not hurt him. The blood-sucking vines simply met Attilan's needs perfectly. Compared with the role of breaking up when escaping, He was more optimistic about the characteristics of the blood-sucking vines that could weaken the enemy, and it was most suitable for capturing prisoners. In less than 10 minutes, he captured 39 minotaurs. The color of the blood-sucking vines became brighter and brighter, and even 2 beautiful flowers bloomed. The bright red color was as charming as if it would drip blood in the next second. A few minotaurs still escaped. These guys with thick skin and flesh were really hard to catch. A centaur came to report that the Horse King was dealing with a crazy minotaur chieftain, and Attilan was a little confused. The sleet just now was a level 3 spell, Rain and Snowstorm, which he cast. Although a level 5 druid can already cast level 3 spells twice, the Rain and Snowstorm just now could cover such a large area because he used his magic to expand the power of the Rain and Snowstorm. The price was that he had been drained dry after knocking down dozens of Tauren with one dragon, and he didn't have a drop of magic left. He could only rely on his breath and spells to assist in Gorilla. Who knew that when he rushed over, he just saw the Tiger Man showing his power. Facing the furious barbarian, the best way was to knock him out and make him lose consciousness. The Tiger Man did a good job. He lurked behind him and knocked out the Tauren chieftain's head like a storm. After 13 punches, the Tauren chieftain was stunned by the Tiger Man and fell to the ground. Attilan released blood-sucking vines to tie up the chieftain. That's good. The oxen needed for land reclamation and plowing have been found. Chapter 30, Minotaur will never be slaves. Although the centaurs were hired helpers by Attilan, he only paid 50 gold points to hire the Horse King. 10 centaurs went out to fight in friendship, so Attilan naturally wanted the centaurs to share the spoils of the Tauren camp. The ground that had turned into mud had frozen into ice due to the rain and snowstorm. Although the road was a bit slippery, it was much better than walking on muddy ground. There were still a few minotaurs in the camp who were looting treasures and food. They were caught by Attilan with blood-sucking vines. He smiled and said, "We have sorted out the things. Mep, take the 2 apprentices to look for them and see if there is anything missing. This group of minotaurs is a poor tribe. It seems that there are a lot of coins, but when you open it, it is all silver coins, and there are only a few gold coins. More than 300 silver coins, some damaged gold and silver jewelry, and 5 gold coins. The total value is less than 40 gold coins. Thank you, Horse King, for your help. We will each take half of these gold coins. As for food, you know I have captured so many minotaur captives. I don't know how much food it will take to feed them. I don't think I can share it with you. Why don't you pick a few minotaurs and take them away?" The Horse King looked at the smelly minotaurs with some disgust. He didn't want any of these stupid and gluttonous minotaurs. He ruled the centaur tribe. Even if he wanted to absorb the centaur into the tribe, the Horse King would have to examine them before recruiting them. Not to mention the foreign minotaurs. No need. We didn't contribute much in this battle. Most of the arrows we shot can be recycled. This money is enough. After the centaur divided the money, the Horse King led his people away in a chic manner. Listening to the sound of horse hooves, Attilan felt that the centaur lived a free and easy life. They guarded a tribe of about 100 people and lived on planting, hunting, and animal husbandry. Without desires in the heart, life is not so tiring. Unlike Attilan, who wanted to expand his sphere of influence, he had more and more things to deal with. If he had not expanded his power to the wasteland, he would not have provoked the Minotaur. The Tiger Man's fist was still not hard enough. The Minotaur chieftain woke up less than an hour after being knocked unconscious and found that he was tied up. The chieftain immediately flexed his muscles and wanted to break the rope. He wanted to mobilize his anger, but found that he was unable to do so. The more the chieftain struggled, the more excited the blood-sucking vines became. The thorns kept absorbing his blood. Attilan felt emotional. It is said that a person with blood is brave, but the 11th level barbarian also became a weak shrimp after being drained of blood. He couldn't get angry at all. What is on my body? If you have the guts, let me go and fight again. If you lose, I will be your slave. Attilan looked down at the Minotaur chieftain coldly. You have already lost and are now my slave. Why are you gambling with me with something that is already mine? The Tauren chieftain was confused by Attilan. He roared without hesitation, "Coward, where's your dignity as a dragon?" Attilan roared loudly, covering the chieftain's roar. Now you know that you are provoking a dragon. You dare to kidnap and extort the dragon's followers. You are so brave. The chieftain stared at the satyr in the corner. I thought it was just a team of murlocs exploring. How do I know they are your followers? Attilan turned to look at the satyr, frowned and asked, didn't you tell them The satyr was stunned for a moment, and suddenly realized that something was wrong. "I'm not your follower, what are you talking about?" "You should ask them." The two apprentices' scalps tingled, and number one asked nervously, "Dragon Lord, what's the point of telling the Minotaurs that we are your follower? We really don't know what to say. Please punish us, Dragon Lord, and we will remember to say it next time." "It seems so. They are just two followers. Even if the dragon's followers are killed, the worst thing is to move to another place to continue living. Is there any dragon that will leave the dragon's nest to hunt down the perpetrator for worthless followers?" "Okay, you are not wrong, it's these Minotaurs who are wrong." Attilan looked at the Minotaur chief with some curiosity. "Why are you extorting fresh fish? I see you don't seem to be short of food." The Minotaurs stored a lot of food such as baobabs and sand sheep meat. The 200 kilograms of fresh fish they brought were not enough for a meal for the Minotaurs. The Minotaur chief held his head high and said nothing. Attilan turned and glared at a 2.7-meter tall elite Minotaur, exuding dragon power to intimidate. "You tell me, we found an oasis in the wilderness, caught a few fish in the water, and roasted them with the sand sheep. The chief liked to eat them very much? After asking around, he found out where there were a lot of fresh fish and brought us here. Who knew that we ran into the fishmen just 2 days after we arrived? It was difficult for us to catch fish in the river. Thinking that the fishmen were good at fishing, we decided to catch these 2 fishmen and threatened them to help us fish. I didn't expect that this Minotaur chief was also a foodie. Just now, he said that he would let go and fight again. If he won, he would be a slave obediently. That was bullshit. How could you believe what the Minotaur said? He just wanted Attilan to let him go so that he would have a chance to escape. Here, he showed him that the Minotaur would never be a slave. Attilan planned to show them the next sentence directly. From today on, all Minotaurs are my slaves. Slaves who perform well have the opportunity to gain freedom and become my dependents. For those who don't obey, let the blood-sucking vine suck his blood dry. The best target for killing the chicken to scare the monkey is naturally their chief. Originally, these captured Minotaurs were in a panic after waking up, but when they saw that their chieftain was also captured, they miraculously calmed down. "It's okay, I'll leave first." Although he had a bad relationship with the tiger people, the tiger people helped him and at least let him stay for a meal. This is the inheritance from the country of etiquette. Have a meal before leaving, just in time to taste the improvement of Mep's cooking skills during this period. That's right, the half-goat man helped to smooth things over. He also hoped to ease the relationship between Attilan and the tiger people. Sand sheep is a very delicious food, but the cooking method of the Minotaurs is worthy of their IQ. They don't pluck the hair or deal with the internal organs. They just stick it directly on a wooden stick and roast it. There is no seasoning, and the meat is roasted to charred and raw state. Who would like to eat it? No wonder the chief likes to eat sashimi. After all, I have heard of people who like to eat sashimi, but I haven't heard of anyone who likes to eat raw lamb slices. Use this charred sheep to make soup. Clean the other sheep, slice them and roast them on a stone slab. As for the baobabs, roast some of them directly and take out the pulp from the rest to make jam and eat with a lamb. Remember not to throw away the cores, you can use them to extract oil. The goat man looked at Attilan in surprise. As a water dragon, he also had the inherited memory of cooking these desert ingredients. I'll go find some ingredients nearby. Attilan looked around and only found some sand onions. When he came back, the lamb had been processed and started to roast. He chopped the sand onions and sprinkled them on the roasted lamb. A rich aroma floated in the camp. All the Minotaurs were stimulated by the aroma and kept swallowing their saliva. They were very curious about what the dragon was taking them to eat, and whether they would have a share. A daily love Pokemon story, written by Big Boss, with strength guaranteed. Chapter 31. Unless food and lodging are provided, these refined foods could not be shared with the slaves. The food prepared for them was simply washed viscera, mixed with sand onions and baobab fruits and stewed. Attilan did not even add salt to them. He just threw the salty stones he found into the soup pot and cooked them together. The salt in the stones would bring a good salty taste to the mutton soup. This was already a delicacy that the Minotaur had never eaten before. The sand sheep viscera were intentionally chopped into small pieces, and the sand onions and baobab fruits covered up the fishy smell of the viscera very well. But the portion was too small, because Attilan stipulated that the Minotaur could not be fed full, and the big bowls that the Minotaur usually ate only had a shallow layer of food. Fortunately, the baobab fruits were served at this time, And Attilan found that there were only salted kernels, but where was the flesh? How did you serve the roasted fruit cores? The satyr said with some disdain. The roasted flesh is too sour, but the fruit cores are very crispy and fragrant when fried with salt. However, good things are not suitable for the minotaurs to eat too much, so I made some jam and sprinkled a few fried fruit cores on it. Do you think they licked the plate clean? This group of minotaurs really had never seen the world, so it seemed that it would be easy to subdue them. Attilan flew over the group of minotaurs, first opening with a dragon roar, and then began to bewitch people. How is the food just now? Is there anyone willing to be my slave now? If you become my slaves, you can eat the food just now every day. As long as you work hard, there will be even more delicious food waiting for you to enjoy after you become my followers. Those who are willing to be slaves, stand up. Under the temptation of delicious food and Attilan's tempting words, more than a dozen minotaurs really stood up on the spot. After standing up, they remembered to see the reaction of the chief. What could the chief say? He knew that these idiots could not resist the temptation of delicious food. Besides, it was not shameful to be a slave to the dragon. There was still a chance to become a follower. Even if they did not stand up, would they not be slaves? Very good, each person will pick 2 minotaurs to form a working team. Mep, let the fishmen serve another portion of food to these team leaders. They stood up bravely and must be rewarded, but if they are lazy while working, the first person I will punish is the captain. If they do a good job, the captain can become a follower, and the rest of the people can have 2 portions of food with the captain. According to the intelligence of the minotaurs, if they are lazy at work, they will be beaten, and if they work hard, they can eat more. Soon the fishmen served the captain. This time they gave him half a bowl. Compared with the shallow layer just now, the minotaurs who did not stand up regretted it to death. Now they can only drool and watch the captain inhale the storm. These guys even ran to them with bowls to show off. But they dared not resist. The blood-sucking vines were still wrapped around their arms. The little food they had just eaten was not enough to make up for the blood absorbed by the vines before. They really did not dare to move. The wooden bowl was licked and did not need to be washed. Attilan smiled knowingly. Now the captain goes to select your men and starts working now. If you don't work after eating, is it a waste of energy to wait for the food to provide? Most of the minotaurs were sent to level the land and open up farmland. The minotaurs were responsible for turning the soil with wooden farm tools, and the fishmen cleaned up the weeds, stones, tree roots and other things that affected planting. Soon the captain found that this bowl of rice was not so delicious. Not only did they have to work, but they also had to watch the other 2 people work. It was really hard. The remaining minotaurs renovated the camp under the leadership of the fishmen. Because the minotaurs had extremely unsophisticated living habits, the camp was full of filth and was simply a filthy place. The first thing to do was to clean up the filthy soil and then bring in clean soil to fill it up. The building structure was extremely unreasonable. These houses also needed to be rebuilt. The minotaurs' craftsmanship wasted the wood. They nailed the wood crookedly into the soil, put a few more wood on top, and covered them with branches and large leaves. Those who knew to tie them with vines were already smart. Most of the minotaurs simply slept in the middle of a pile of randomly placed wood. Only the minotaur chieftain had a house with sheepskin as the roof. Although the sheepskin was peeled and tattered, it also showed that the chieftain was completely different from ordinary minotaurs. The camp was changing into his appearance according to Attilan's will. All the minotaurs started to work, and only the chieftain was not assigned. He stood there silently and watched the group of minotaurs he had gathered, working more seriously than when he was the chieftain. Do you want to know why they work so obediently? He did want to know, but he didn't want to ask Attilan to bow to Attilan. It didn't matter if the chieftain didn't ask. Attilan patiently explained to him. Whether it was his arrangement for the minotaurs or his words to the chieftain, they were all meant to tame the minotaurs. Let them get used to obeying his orders and getting used to a more civilized lifestyle now, so that the minotaurs would no longer be willing to betray Attilan and return to the old life of eating raw meat and drinking blood. The minotaurs have no knowledge accumulation and inheritance. Can they produce a minotaur who has entered the legend by relying solely on talent inheritance profession? It's very simple, because what I brought them today is completely different from their previous experiences. Why are the same materials used, but the food made by the goatman and the fishman tastes so much better? They know very well that only by following it can they have the opportunity to enjoy more good things. Don't worry, I'm not a bad dragon. I won't fail to fulfill my promise and treat you as tools. Don't worry, you are not tools, You are tool people. If Attilan develops according to its plan, it may not be a bad thing for the Minotaurs. Through the influence of civilized society, these Minotaurs may not change much, but their children will definitely have an increase in intelligence. I believe that one day, there will be Minotaur scholars in the natural empire of Attilan, such a historically significant profession and figure. The chief must be unable to see, but Attilan can help him see. I hope so. Cunning made it difficult for the chief to trust Attilan. His intelligence determined that he was not a fool who could be bribed by sheep offal. Taming the Minotaurs was not easy, but the construction of Kingland Town had to continue. The fishman priest took most of the fishmen back to Kingland Town the next day. This camp was also named Bighorn Town by Attilan, and a sign was erected overnight. Attilan needed daily practice, so he asked the goats to keep an eye on the Minotaurs and told the goats how to control the blood-sucking vines to prevent them from rebelling. The goats were still worried that they could not suppress the situation, and they thought about how to suppress it so domineeringly that they went to bed until dawn. As a result, no one made trouble the next day. All the Minotaurs worked honestly, ate, and worked. The suppression method he carefully designed all night was not used at all. He wanted to say, "Why don't you give me some face and make a fuss?" The chief seemed to be really thinking about Attilan's words, sitting at the gate every day without moving. It took only 7 days for the Minotaurs to completely accept their current life, so Attilan took the opportunity to try it out. He asked several Minotaurs with good performance to become his followers as long as they could hunt 3 sans sheep at a time. Although only 2 Minotaurs successfully brought back 3 as his followers, the rest of the Minotaurs returned with their prey, and none of them escaped or stole food. Attilan saw it clearly from the sky, and his domestication was successful. It was obvious that the Minotaurs had become addicted to the delicious sheep offal that was increasing in quantity every day. Moreover, the house was covered with a layer of hay and was windproof and rainproof, so it must be too comfortable to live in. Chapter 32, Is the Druid Way Such an Inconvenient Thing? Attilan had never expected that the Minotaurs would adapt to the new life so quickly. Seeing that they were doing well, he added food to their bowls every day, and now they could be 80% full at one meal. The hierarchical upgrade route, the bottom slaves, the team leaders, the dependents, and the dependents' captains divided the Minotaurs and allowed them to find a goal to move forward. Attilan also sent a team of Minotaurs to pick baobab fruits. Carrying a backpack made of vines, a Minotaur could bring back more than 200 baobab fruits from a tree. The Minotaurs were not vegetarians and were not completely tamed at the moment. If the Minotaurs were not full all the time, they might really rebel. They were content to be slaves because Attilan provided a comfortable living environment and delicious food. Baobab fruits and sans sheep were not unlimited, and Attilan had to consider finding new sources of food. In 7 days, the Minotaurs' achievements were very gratifying. 1,000 acres of land had been opened up. Attilan was only worried that the wheat seeds he bought were too few and not enough. Now, wheat cannot be directly sown on this 1,000 acres of land. With the current fertility of the soil, the yield will be quite touching, and the yield per mule will definitely fall below 100 kilograms. If you want to turn wasteland into good farmland, you need to add fertility, and the process of fertilizing the land is divided into 3 steps. The first step is to burn the wasteland. Today, half of the Minotaurs were arranged to collect dead branches and leaves in the forest in the north, bring them back and spread them on the farmland, and then set fire to the farmland to burn as many insect eggs and remaining grass roots as possible. The ash left after the flames burn out is a natural fertilizer. Looking at the farmland on fire, the Minotaurs didn't understand why they were asked to go to the forest to collect dead branches and leaves, but then burned them all. A Minotaur said, as a matter of course, since it is the order of the Dragon Lord, it is naturally correct. We just need to execute it. This sentence happened to be heard by Attilan, who was watching the burning of the wasteland, and he was immediately very happy. Such a lackey must be rewarded. Well said, everyone should learn from him. The kitchen will give him an extra bowl of rice today. After receiving the Dragon Lord's praise, the Minotaur held his head high while working. The fertilizer provided by burning the wasteland was naturally not enough, so the remaining half of the Minotaur were arranged by Attilan to dredge the river. The silt in the river was all excellent humus. The dried river mud was sprinkled on the farmland after burning the wasteland, finally giving the farmland a fertile dark breath. According to the Druid's vision, this piece of land was becoming vibrant, and vitality began to flow through the earth, making the farmland a little more alive. Another 7 days passed. Half a month passed, and there were 6 dependents, 13 team leaders, and the Minotaur chieftain who had been playing badly among the 46 Minotaur. The chieftain occasionally worked, but not much, so he had not eaten enough in the past half-month. His burly figure had begun to lose weight, but his eyes were getting brighter and brighter. Dredging the river is a long-term task. You keep an eye on them. You can stop the land reclamation first and level and widen the road from the camp to the lake. It is more convenient to transport materials by water. Leave it to me. The satyrs are not worried that the Minotaurs will rebel at all. The barbaric and brutal Minotaurs have been tamed by Attilan into docile oxen, and they will do whatever they are told to do. Even an adult dragon cannot make the Minotaurs so obedient without coercion and inducement. And the fishman, after seeing the food, immediately served him wholeheartedly. Is Attilan really a genius? The satyrs looked at Attilan, who was talking endlessly with complicated eyes. By the way, change the condition of hunting 3 sand sheep to capturing 2 sand sheep alive. It is impossible to fully utilize the hilly terrain by just growing wheat. In the future, the relatively flat areas will be developed into farmland. Grow grass to raise sheep on the hills, grow oak to provide building materials, and grow fruits and nuts to provide snacks. The satyrs waved their hands impatiently. Okay, you're not coming back. I'm the mayor of Kingland Town. You can't always let me manage Dajio Town, right? Attilan really had this idea. Kingland Town could let the fishman priest serve as the mayor, but he didn't feel comfortable leaving Dajio Town to the Minotaur. Unless it was the Minotaur chief. Attilan already had a rough plan on how to subdue the chief, and he would start implementing it when he came back from the forest. Before subduing the chief, Dajio Town must still be managed by the Gutman. After flying back to the forest, Attilan originally wanted to go directly to the vine girl to ask for the seeds of astragalus. After the astragalus bloomed, he could ask for a few queen bees to raise bees and make honey. Who knew that he would meet the bear man just after returning, and he had to go down when the master summoned him. Master, what do you want me to do? Recently, you have been half-hearted in your practice. You don't transplant trees or cook magic dishes anymore. Minotaur is so interesting, Attilan understood as soon as he heard it. The bear man wanted to eat honey bread. Master, when the reclamation is over, we can plant astragalus and raise bees to make honey. I don't have much money left, but I still have enough money to buy flour. I promise that you will have honey bread to eat. The bear man looked at Attilan with a serious face. What honey bread? I'm telling you to practice seriously. Attilan looked at the bear man with a smile, and he didn't expose his little thoughts. I am also practicing now. I am building canals all the way to the southwest to transport water vapor to the southwestern wilderness. How can I transform the barren wilderness into fertile farmland? Not be practicing. There are full 100,000 acres of land. Planting wheat after it is opened up can feed 50,000 people. If the fertility of the soil is improved in the future, I think the wheat yield per acre can be 400 kilograms. By then, it will feed 100,000 people. The bear man did not comment on Attilan's arrogant words of feeding 100,000 people. The issue he cared about was, why is there only 100,000 acres? The desert in the southwest stretches for hundreds of miles. You only open up the area that is suitable for farming now? Doesn't it mean that after a few years of your opening up, these lands that still have vitality will also become deserts? Attilan wanted to be stubborn. But the bear man continued, you don't have the confidence to control the desert? How can you have the confidence to manage 100,000 acres of farmland? Is this the druid way I taught you? But master, isn't the druid way you taught to maintain the balance of nature? The desert has its own set of operating laws. Who knew that? The bear man snorted coldly. How can the druid's way be so inconvenient? What do you want to do? What is your druid's way? Do you think there are more lives in the desert or in the forest? Of course it's the forest. Then as a druid, you should clear all obstacles and turn the desert into a forest. 200 years ago, the forest under your feet was also a desert. It was because I killed the master of the desert, an adult sand dragon. The desert can be turned into a forest. Attilan's blood boiled and he couldn't help but nod. Transforming the entire desert into fertile land for farming is his next stage goal. Wait, something seems wrong. Did this old dang kill an adult sand dragon 200 years ago? I'm very happy to be promoted, but I hope everyone will still support me next Tuesday. Pen refills. There will be extra chapters on Tuesday. Chapter 33, The Desert Cuckold Plan. Dust dragons are the offspring of the elemental dragons Middle-earth mountain dragon and wind cloud dragon. Due to the poor adaptability between the two attributes of the parents, the talents of the dust dragons are not much different from those of the white dragons. Of course, this refers to the combat effectiveness of the dust dragons. Their IQ is definitely much higher than that of the white dragons, at least not as stupid as the white dragons and the same level as the beasts. The challenge level of an adult white dragon is 10, and the theoretical challenge level of the dust dragon is also 10. However, because the elemental adaptability inherited by the dust dragon, the parents who are far more responsible than the white dragon will teach their offspring to mobilize the power of elements and develop many spell-like abilities. Therefore, it is more difficult to kill the dust dragon than the black dragon. Since the bear man was able to kill the dust dragon 200 years ago, it means that he was already a legendary druid at that time. But when he first became his apprentice, Loudang actually said that he could not beat an adult green dragon with a challenge level of 13. Loudang is too good at pretending, right? He asked immediately. You killed an adult sand dragon 200 years ago, but you can't kill an adult green dragon 200 years later, ahem. I'm not worried that my strength is too strong and will cultivate your arrogance. Now it seems that you are still quite cautious and introverted, so I don't need to pretend anymore. Attilan looked at him with contempt. What's the point of not pretending? It was obviously that he let it slip in excitement. Then do you want me to tell the tiger man, hatred is a double-edged sword. The bad side hits you, a thick-skinned person, and the good side will naturally make her grow quickly. If you continue to focus on expanding your power like you do now, the day when you can defeat her by relying on hard power will probably be postponed for a few years until you become a young dragon. 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west is not impossible. The most interesting part of competing with a short-lived species is bullying them who are already old. What's the point of a 60-year-old young dragon bullying an old man? No, an old lady. 10 years. In 10 years, he will beat the tiger man to pieces. After the last battle with the tiger man, which made her so angry that she vomited blood, Attilan didn't want to beat her to death so much, which led to him being a little lax during this period. Now it seems that having a clear enemy is very helpful for the improvement of strength. Don't think of using me to interfere with Tyr's determination to practice. Some things are better done by yourself to get the best results. We, the elders, can only escort you from behind, but don't make a big incident that I can't handle. Understand, the bear man is not worried about the tiger man, but he is worried that Attilan's blind expansion of power will provoke enemies that he can't beat. Fortunately, Attilan will choose to keep a low profile when he is not strong enough. He is afraid that Attilan will swell up after knowing his strength. Attilan is not stupid. It takes 4 masters like the bear man to walk sideways. Even if the ancient golden dragon with the highest challenge level comes, he has to avoid the bear man and others. Attilan subconsciously asked another question. Master, are you level 26? The bear man slapped him in anger. What? Do you want to urge me to find some friends to go slay the dragon together? Attilan approached with a smug look. I'm just curious. Slaying a dragon must be done with a legitimate reason. Who dares to slay a dragon casually? Why should I tell you? Tell you to provoke a strong enemy? If I don't tell you, you will know how to take it easy. If I tell you, will you go around and provoke your opponent? Okay, remember one thing. If you want to have 100,000 acres of farmland, you must learn to manage the desert. Attilan looked at the bear man expectantly. Yes, I will definitely work hard and will not disappoint my master's expectations. By the way, master, do you have any plants to recommend for planting in the desert? The bear man waved his hand. You don't need me to tell you everything. What kind of druid are you? The forest has everything you need. Go find it yourself. One more thing, when will Map come back? Don't forget my honey bread. After saying that, the bear man left without waiting for Attilan to answer. Loudang came to him specifically because the food had become worse recently and he wanted to eat honey bread. He pretended to be indifferent, but ended up exposing his strength. When she arrived at Fujin's garden, she was a little surprised to learn that Attilan wanted the seeds of astragalus. You want to raise bees to make honey? Remember to plant some other flowers around. You can't let the bees eat only the nectar of astragalus, or they will get bloated and die. Fortunately, Fujin told him in advance. He only knew that cattle and sheep would get bloated and die if they ate too much astragalus, but he didn't expect that bees would also get bloated if they ate the nectar of astragalus. After Attilan explained the use of astragalus, Fujin said as a matter of course, the soil there is too bad. You might as well cut down a piece of tree in the forest and open it up to farmland for planting. It is much more fertile than the land you carefully cultivated in the south. If the soil is not good, change another piece of land. Anyway, Your master is the best at planting trees. Speaking of the bear man planting trees, Fugian couldn't help but grit her teeth. It seems that the two of them had a big conflict because of planting trees. I plan to open up 100,000 acres in the south. This is a great test of the druid's ability to regulate the land. It is also a very meaningful practice for me, from desert to grassland, from grassland to forest. Even if I can't become a legend, I think I can't escape becoming a great druid. The vine girl pursed her lips, as if she remembered something unhappy. It will probably take many years, Attilan asked curiously. Auntie, how long did it take you to turn this place from desert to forest? Less than 100 years, and I was promoted to legend because of this. I think if you really do it, you will definitely break through the legend. After all, the area of the southwest desert and the difficulty of transformation, it is estimated that more than 30 level druids can really turn it into a forest. The vine girl's words made Attilan change his original plan. He decided to dredge the river first to transport as much water from the lake to the southwest as possible, and start the transformation from both sides of the river. As long as there is water and suitable plants, it is really not difficult to transform the desert. On the premise of maintaining the existing green area, the green-yellow dividing line should be pushed to the southwest as much as possible, so that he can make progress day by day. In his lifetime, the Southwest Desert Green Hat Plan will definitely be realized. If he says it will, he will. Who told him that as long as he is not killed, he can live for 3,000 years? It is unrealistic for him to govern the entire desert with just one dragon, so he needs to recruit more high-quality labor to help, such as the farming and fighting races such as the Tauren. There are also centaurs, who are all races that can plow the land and fight, otherwise everyone would like to say that they will repay your kindness by being cows and horses. Attilan thinks it is necessary to give them a taste of sweetness. When Attilan first saw the astragalus in the garden of the vine girl, he planned to promote this plant in his territory in the future, which can supplement soil fertility, feed livestock, provide honey sources and other functions. Of course, if you give the Tauren and centaurs raw astragalus, they will definitely be angry, so it is imperative to train more chefs. Attilan thinks it is time to recruit halfling chefs as followers. Chapter 34 Where did the druid go? In his previous life, Attilan had watched a lot of short videos about desert management. Now he's a druid. He can choose suitable plants to plant according to the desert environment. At least in areas with water, he can ensure that they are greened into grasslands or even forests. Not all deserts can become oases. The Bearman Forest is close to the Dragon Lake and can draw sufficient water flow for irrigation. If he wants to divert water to the southwest wilderness, the amount of work required to build a canal is too large. In order to reduce water vapor evaporation, the most suitable canal for desertified areas is the Keres. The 20,000 acres of farmland near Dajio town does not need to use Keres. The evaporation of water vapor here is not so serious, and some trees can even be seen on the hills. Only the 50,000 acres near the desert need to use Keres with underground canals to ensure irrigation water. The Southwest River is intermittent here. The biggest project is to change the river channel into a canal to extend the flow. Should he catch a few kobolds who are good at mining to dig tunnels? Let's not consider the problem of such a long distance first. I still want to think that if he cuts down a large area of forests and transforms them into farmland, will the bears kill him? It is better to use diversion therapy. Improving the soil fertility of the hills and transferring the trees over the original land can be used to grow food. He is indeed a genius. In addition to the seeds of astragalus, there is another important thing to do when he returns to Attilan this time, that is, to attend the druid gathering. There are still 3 days before the next druid gathering. He must find 3 druids living in seclusion in the forest before then, and get their approval before he can attend the gathering. He wants to let those druids who are arrogant know that Attilan is also powerful and not a small scoundrel who is swaggering in the city. This is a small game for druids, which requires 2 small skills of hiding breath and discovering the breath of prey. It is an advanced version of hide and seek. Wherever you go, you must leave traces. Since this is a forest cultivated by druids, all the unusual animals and plants in the forest must be related to this group of druids. Find the Enlightenment Tree Man, and there will be a druid nearby in 99% of cases. In addition to the Enlightenment Tree Man, there are 3 animals in the forest that have attracted Attilan's attention: the giant owl, the brown bear, and the black panther. The first to bear the brunt are the brown bears. These stinky bears, ugh, they are little bears. If you scold the stinky bears, you will also bring Loudeng into the trap. That day, he and the bear men were grilling fish together. A brown bear came over to smell the smell. He actually acted cute in front of the bear man, rolling around and begging for fish. This IQ is even smarter than Schwanger. There must be druids intervening, and they are not bear men. If Loudang takes action, the IQ of the brown bear cannot be only at the level of a border collie. This must be other druids who transformed into brown bears to guide the bears. Most likely, the animal school wants to breed a new species of bears. The druids behind a giant owl and the black panther are probably the druids of the elemental school. There is a rift in the forest, which will stir up gusts of wind all year round. There should be a rift that communicates with the wind element plane. The giant owl living here itself has signs of being infected by the wind element. Now that the druids are artificially promoting it, a wind-type magical beast should be born. Now think about it, the bird eggs that Fujian gave them probably came from this wind element rift. Finally, there is the black panther. The black panther is a special forest leopard. She didn't know where she came into contact with shadow energy. After realizing the excellent stealth effect of shadow energy when hunting, the black panther is seeking to transform into shadow leopard. This subject must be observed by druids in secret. The first target chosen by Attilan was the giant owl king of the wind rift. The wind element lingering around that giant owl is several times that of other similar ones, and it has two very conspicuous white eyebrows. Now think about it, this white-browed eagle king must be a raptor druid. It is really not easy to restrain the majesty of the dragon. In order to train his own control these days, Attilan has not managed the tauren much. Fortunately, the half-goat man collected various ingredients and rewarded the hard-working tauren with innovative dishes in various ways, mobilizing their enthusiasm, reclaiming farmland, dredging rivers, and digging ditches so smoothly. When you are close to the rift, you can feel the unruly winds from the wind element plane. Attilan arrived at the right time. The white-browed eagle king was practicing controlling the wind element with a wind giant eagle. No one would think that he was an ordinary giant owl when seeing his posture. Only these wind giant eagles that were not smart enough would regard him as their own kind, respect him as their king and follow his instructions to train in elemental control. Since the druids were training the wind giant eagles, Attilan naturally would not disturb him. He just hovered in the air and observed silently. It was also an experience to observe the practice of other druids. Seeing how these druids above level 10 were trained, Attilan could also prepare in advance. The elemental school creates new species related to elements, the animal school breeds new animals, and the plant school breeds new plants. Then their life school can create new life, right? Isn't this topic a little too early for the young dragon? After the training, Attilan sneaked behind the white-browed Eagle King. Eagle King, no, this druid brother, I wonder if I can get your mark so that I can attend the next gathering. The Eagle King was a little surprised, because no one would come to the Rift Valley and he was indeed a little relaxed, but he was not so surprised that he did not react when someone touched him from behind. The Eagle King handed over the oak leaf with his mark with some suspicion. It was obviously the same dragon. How could it change so much in just 1 month? Are you really just a druid? Have you practiced the way of assassins this month? What are you talking about? These are the results of my hard work in studying the way of druids. Although assassin is one of his idols, as a dragon, how can he sneak attack? He has always been an upright dragon and has done things openly. If his reputation is damaged, how can he sneak attack in the future? Eagle King, I'm leaving first. There are 2 druids waiting for me to catch. After saying goodbye to the Eagle King and coming to the habitat of the brown bear, Attilan opened the lid of a jar of honey that he had prepared in advance and placed it on the ground. After smelling the fragrance, all the brown bears rushed up impatiently. Only one red brown bear was still sleeping on the hay, completely unmoved. Attilan walked to his side quietly. There's only so much honey. If you don't go grab it, you won't be able to eat it. If you can't eat it, you can't eat it. The red-brown bear bounced up in an instant. Attilan swore that he had never seen such a bouncy bear in his 2 lifetimes. How many kilograms of QQ candy did he eat to be so bouncy? A can of honey defeated him. Sure enough, his exploration of the habits of brown bears was not deep enough. Helplessly, he took out a leaf with a mark and handed it to Attilan. You win. With a hearty laugh, Attilan flew into the sky. Arriving at the forest leopard tribe, Attilan was in a dilemma. Except for the Black Panther who had been hiding in the gloomy shade and yawning lazily, the other forest leopards were very active and playing together. The last ticket for this rally was not easy to get. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 about writing a paper after traveling through time. Attilan's eyes turned around and locked onto the bored Black Panther. He had an idea. No matter how smart the Black Panther was and how much shadow energy she had mastered, she was still a big cat, and as long as she was a cat, she would be curious. Attilan's claws emitted a white light, and a bright spot of light fell in front of the Black Panther. The Black Panther subconsciously reached out to grab the light spot. As soon as Attilan's claws moved, the light spot distanced itself from the Black Panther and prevented the Black Panther from touching it, further arousing the Black Panther's curiosity. The Black Panther stood up directly and began to get serious. In this way, chasing the light spot, the Black Panther gradually disappeared into the habitat of the forest leopard. Until this time, a druid who was incarnated as a forest leopard and had a lot of fun with the big cats finally found that a research subject had disappeared from sight. It was afternoon, when the sun was strong. After absorbing the shadow energy, the Black Panther did not like the strong light during the day. Usually, she would hide under the shade of the trees and stare blankly or sleep. But today she suddenly disappeared. Could it be that the shadow energy in the Black Panther has finally accumulated to the critical point, and she is about to start transforming into a Shadow Panther? If she misses this scene, her project will be ruined. The Forest Panther druid was anxious and rushed directly to the grass nest where the Black Panther slept, trying to follow the smell to track the Black Panther's movement trajectory, and then she saw the Black Panther coming back after a light spot. Hello, this druid sister, I saw you were having fun just now, so I didn't disturb you. I couldn't help but tease your big cat. You don't mind, do you? Although her hair was blown up and she wanted to pick up her javelin and shoot Attilan to death, the big cat still smiled and said, I don't mind. The Black Panther is so cute that anyone who sees her will want to tease her. You are worthy of being the disciple of Master Gauge. You actually saw through my disguise so quickly, he didn't see through it. The transformations of the other two druids still had some flaws. After confirming their identities, they were found by Attilan. This big sister really had no flaws, just like a natural big cat. As he spoke, the big cat turned into a female druid with a nice figure and wheat-colored skin, who only used animal skin to cover her important parts and animal teeth as decorations. Her face was not delicate enough, but full of wildness. She took out a mark and threw it to Attilan, who suddenly grabbed an oak javelin from the bushes. Attilan moved his claws slightly adjusted his posture to launch an attack, and looked at the female druid calmly. The material of your javelin is good, but the craftsmanship of the maker is a bit poor. The center of gravity of the handle is not well polished. When you throw it, you have to accommodate the javelin. You can't release your power as you wish, right? Also, the pattern carved on the obsidian of the spearhead is very beautiful, but the tip of the spear can actually be polished to be sharper. I think you stopped because you were afraid of breaking it. You know so much, why don't you make a gun for me to see? I will bring the sample to the gathering in 3 days, and you will watch with your eyes wide open then. After Attilan left, the leopard girl realized that she had been fooled. She took the gun to scare Attilan, but why was he diverted before she even opened her mouth? She gritted her teeth and looked at the sky. If she was not satisfied with the javelin brought by Attilan, she would stab Attilan twice even in front of the master. In the distant sky, Attilan laughed again. He finally collected 3 tickets to attend the druid gathering. Who would slander him behind his back as a rookie? Who would dare to speak loudly in front of him? When he confidently slapped the 3 marked leaves in front of the bear man, he shouted, I will attend the druid gathering in 3 days, are you ready? Attilan blinked in confusion, revealing his crystal-clear stupidity. Prepare for what? Can't you attend with 3 marked leaves? That's right, but you don't think it's that simple for a group of druids to get together just to drink tea and chat, right? Then what are you going to do? Do you remember the 1,000-word summary of the birth of the creeping spirit that I asked you to write? Ahem. How could I not remember it? It played a big role in capturing the Torn last time. Well, he forgot everything, and because the blood-sucking vines of the vine girl were too useful last time, he didn't use the creeping spirit at all. Just remember it. The druids who attend the gathering will present an analysis of the existing results and a conjecture of the expected goals based on the recent practice results for everyone to study and discuss. Do you have a suitable topic? Attilan took a deep breath. He felt a headache. Why did he have to do academic research and write papers after traveling through time? In fact, the druid's discussion can only be regarded as a small fight. The real academic research has to be done by legendary wizards and arcanists. Attilan still has a half understanding of the spell action principle involved in the birth process of the creeping spirit. His warlock level is not high because his development and understanding of his own abilities are too shallow. He is still in the stage of learning how to use it, and has not yet reached the stage of why this effect occurs. In fact, it is the lack of knowledge analysis. His inherited memory contains a detailed introduction to the innate abilities of the ocean dragon, just like a book. You can understand every word, but you can't understand them together. He can't chew on the difficult topic for the time being, so why not change to a simple topic? On the subconscious influence of nature worship on racial characteristics. Master, what do you think of this topic? Who do you plan to use as the target to promote this research? Of course, the Murlocs and Minotaurs. I want to see if the magic of nature can change them into what I expect. What do you imagine? Perseverance, hard work, bravery, might, indomitable, man will conquer nature. The bear man understood what Attilan wanted to do after just hearing the beginning. You want to use nature to change the chaotic and evil spirits of the Minotaurs and Murlocs, and at the same time guide them to the path of changing nature? Are you sure they can do it? Attilan said firmly. Master, maybe a legendary master can move mountains and fill the sea with a spell, but if it is replaced by ordinary people, they may not be able to do the same thing. The bear man nodded with satisfaction. While other druids were still studying how to change the body of life, his apprentice had already begun to transform the spiritual will of life. This topic is far more far-reaching than Attilan imagined. Attilan did this subconsciously and thought it was a matter of course. An excellent race should have the above qualities, precisely because he came from such a long history, advocating resistance and indomitable spirit. His natural empire can also carry more than 50 races, but all races must learn to have the above spirit. Seeing the new version of the Chinese map, I was really excited. Here is the book recommendation. Through proficiency training, skills trigger various affixes. Feather body technique, float, can stay in the air for 2 seconds. Sword edge technique, sharp, penetration increased tenfold. Starting with 60 times the experience, leading the family to gradually become invincible. Chapter 36, Get out of the way, I want to show off. The things that Attilan was going to use to win over the Tauren chieftain contain the above spiritual core. With these spiritual qualities, the Tauren could truly have a future. Totem or dance. It contained the beautiful spiritual qualities of perseverance, hard work, bravery and might that the descendants of Yan and Wang gave to the cattle. The main totem war dance had already taken shape, and with a slight conversion, it would be a paper on how the druid changed the spiritual core of the race with a will of nature. In just 3 days, the only thing Attilan could show off was the totem war dance that he had studied for half a month, which had the ability to gather the centripetal force of the race and worship the natural ritual. In addition to the necessary practice in 3 days, he spent all the rest of the time studying how to write his paper more beautifully, more realistically, and more likely to be realized. In just 3 days, he used up hundreds of pieces of bark paper from the bear man, and the bear man looked at him with a bit of unkindness. He thought it was because the bear man felt that he wasted too much paper. Actually, I have also done some research on paper making. Master, don't be angry. I will send you the paper as soon as it is made. You will have more than you can use up, the bear man said calmly. I am not angry because you used so much paper. Paper comes from trees. As long as you plant trees, there will be paper. I am angry because you can write well, but you just made up 1,000 words and gave them to me last time. Attilan immediately raised his hand and said, Master, listen to my quibbling. No, listen to my explanation. Compared with this topic, that topic is more difficult for me, and you want me to give it to you the next day. What can I do? The bear man narrowed his eyes slightly, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then will you continue to do research? It will take the oak guard at most 2 months to digest the changes you brought last time. If you can't find a more labor-saving method before then, I think it will not be as easy for you to win this time as last time. Easy? Do you want to listen to what you are saying? I've been tormented for half a month. Now I always wake up in the middle of the night when I dream of him. No matter how many acorns of life I eat, it can't make up for the trauma of my heart. You actually want to come again for the second time? Master, I think the Oak Guard can try to mobilize the natural magic to imitate the changes in the last stimulation and promote its own evolution towards the ancient tree of life. Anyway, don't torment him. As long as you participate in the experiment, all the acorns of life produced by the tree people and the enlightened tree people in the forest will be yours. Isn't it your wish that the young dragon stage is comparable to the young dragon stage? Attilan stared at the bear man who coerced and bribed him with wide eyes. Laodang, you have changed. You were not this kind of person before. Who is he? Is it the moral decline or the distortion of human nature behind all this? Since I accepted you as my apprentice, I realized that some people will not listen to you if you talk to them nicely. You need to pay attention to the skills of speaking. People get redder when they are close to Zu, and they get blacker when they are close to Mo. It turns out that I have led Laodang astray. That's fine. Laodang said so. And Attilan had no way to refuse. Leave it to me. I will practice seriously in the next 2 months. Can you advance the life acorn to me? Of course, no problem. You have to remember that this catalytic experiment will not stop for more than a month. Even if you are suffering and tired in the middle, you must persist. Can you do it? Of course. Attilan's eyes were full of determination. He longed to become strong. Catalyzing the ancient tree of life was the practice that could best stimulate his potential. He knew it was very hard, but as long as there was a bear man beside him to take care of him, he would not overdraw his potential. Last time, he drank lake water for 3 days after tossing for half a month. This time, at most, he would drink for a week or a month. Anyway, there was so much water in the lake that he couldn't drink it all up, even if he opened his belly. Attilan took his opening report and followed a bear man confidently to participate in this druid gathering. He was ready to make a splash. As a result, there were only a few people at the gathering. He was dumbfounded. How could he pretend without anyone? Why are there so few people? The Eagle King explained calmly. Although the gathering is held once a month, if you can't get away, you can only wait until next time. For example, Bighorn didn't come this time because his moose were all sick. The leopard girl also nodded and said, the same goes for the Sharp Fang brothers. The mastiff raised by the elder brother is about to give birth, and the golden crocodile of the younger brother ran away from the breeding farm. If it swims along the river into the lake, it is estimated that it will not be found again. Attilan subconsciously looked at the bear man, who scratched his head in surprise. Why are you looking at me? My friend is fine. He is probably on the way. Wait a little longer. He is the laziest among the 3 druids, and his friends probably have the same personality. The leopard girl is unreliable, so the crocodile raised by her friend Sharp Fang's brother ran away from the breeding farm. Attilan looked at the old man again. The old horse shook his pipe and asked with a smile, fine halfling tobacco, do you want to taste it? Seeing that Attilan was not going to stop asking questions, the bear man could only say, only druids who need to communicate and learn knowledge will participate in the gathering. In addition to the gathering, a banquet will be held in Master Jaina's garden every quarter. I understand, so he asked why there are so many ingredients on the vine girl's side. It turns out that they are all the experimental results of these druids. Attilan's eyes suddenly lit up, and he raised his paw to ask, then are there any druids who specialize in breeding meat pigs or war pigs? The old horse smiled and said, there's an old guy who breeds wild boars, but his purpose is not to eat, but to see if the wild boar's tusks can grow as long and thick as elephant tusks. The most offensive weapon of wild boars is their tusks. The impact force, endurance, and load-bearing capacity are also improved. Isn't this a very high-quality war pig? Old horse, please introduce this senior to me after the meeting. Not long after, a man wearing a flower crown, carrying a fruit basket, a Tarzan swinging on vines, and a yawning man with moss growing all over his body walked into the venue one after another. Everyone is here, the rest should not come. Let's start now. Needless to say, the 3 subjects of collecting marks are, the flower crown woman is to grow flowers and elves, the fruit basket woman is to grow fruits and brew wine, and the Tarzan man is to fight with rare animals. The moss man is here to join in the fun. This is his fixed and only activity every month. Attilan feels that his subject should be how to live longer. These druids are all humans and aliens, there is no elf or half-elf. Attilan, the dragon druid, is participating for the first time today. My disciple, let him speak first, leave it to me. Attilan proudly walked to the center of the venue with his head held high. He will definitely earn back his face by writing a paper of tens of thousands of words. After listening to his on the subtle influence of nature worship on racial characteristics, everyone was silent. The old centaur tapped his pipe and spoke first. Tell me in detail how to choreograph the totem war dance. I want to see if we can do one in the Centaur tribe. It sounds like it will help the children's growth. Chapter 37, Dragon Lord spits out food, Oxhead returns. Attilan happened to feel that the Tauren totem war dance he had choreographed was not perfect. If he could choreograph a more civilized Centaur totem war dance, comparing the two sets of totem war dances would reveal many defects and improve them. First, look at the excellent qualities that your Centaur tribe already has, and the qualities that you hope your descendants will pursue and inherit but do not have now. These can be engraved on the totem pole. To construct a ritual to worship nature and obtain strength from nature, it depends on what you need. For example, the element I chose for the Tauren is the earth element. The natural power amplification focuses on strength and physique, and finally let nature instill some earth wisdom in them. Of course, you can choose more, but it is difficult to mix the two elements. The more requirements, the greater the difficulty and the lower the cost performance. I recommend that centaurs choose the wind element, and the quality should be 1,000 miles a day, swift as the wind, hit the target every time, and the amplification should be agility and strength. Using the natural force to enhance the strength of oneself and animal companions is a compulsory course for every druid. An Attilan subject involves the contents of the three schools of animals, plants and elements. Everyone naturally expressed their opinions. The botanical school believed that one should start with daily diet to accumulate natural force in the body, and then use positive emotional power to call for the blessing of natural will. The animal school felt that it was more important to exercise oneself, to match daily behavior with nature, and to absorb and transform natural force little by little through breathing. The elemental school communicated directly with the elements, and used rituals to absorb the power of the elements to strengthen everyone in the tribe. Although everyone shared the majestic power of the elements, their strength could not increase dramatically, but it was safer. The three schools gathered together and quickly wrote down the exercise methods they designed based on their existing experience on bark paper, and handed them to Attilan together. Tell me, which method do you think should be taken? Facing their coercion, Attilan blew his claws lightly. Everyone's methods are very good. You also know that I am a dragon with a big appetite, so my choice is that I want them all. Following Attilan, he clenched his claws and his eyes swept across the audience wantonly. The bear man nodded in satisfaction. Although he had not yet taught Attilan many unique spells of the School of Life, it was obvious that Attilan had already grasped the essence of the School of Life. As long as it was related to natural life, the druids of the School of Life had to understand, master, and innovate. The bear man decided to teach Attilan another unique spell of the School of Life after the meeting, and this spell happened to be helpful for him to tame the Minotaur next time. Brain activation. This spell can make the animal's brain run at high speed, increasing the brain's computing power by half in the next half hour. After the effect ends, the animal will feel dizzy and need to sleep for at least 2 hours to recover. 2 hours for half an hour, it sounds like a loss, but an important effect of brain activation is that it can slightly increase intelligence. The effect of training under brain activation for half an hour exceeds the effect of training for 3 hours at ordinary times. The lower the intelligence of the race, the better the effect of this spell. Minotaur happened to be such an unintelligent race. Seeing that everyone was obviously dissatisfied with Attilan's answer, the bear man spoke. I've also seen your plans. It's really difficult to apply them together, but it's not impossible. When did the druids divide the factions so clearly? Remember, we druids have always learned from whatever is useful and improved it based on druid knowledge. Don't be stubborn, let's use the Centaur tribe as an experiment to see if these plans can be used together. The old man was so happy that his teeth almost dropped. He didn't expect that he would get such a big bargain at this gathering. If he had asked them for help normally, he would have owed them a big favor. Now, hiss, the old man suddenly realized that he had caused big trouble for the tribe. He used Attilan's idea, which meant that he owed Attilan a favor. Based on his superficial understanding of the little dragon when he chatted with a bear man, he knew that owing the little dragon a favor was more troublesome than owing all the other druids combined. For the future of the tribe, the chief and the warriors had to work as free labor for Attilan. He knew that Attilan had always envied the well-trained warriors in the tribe. In particular, the excellent carrying capacity of the centaurs makes them naturally have the potential to become peddlers and middlemen. They just need to control their degree and never let the tribe be swallowed up by the dragon. He can see that the dragon is a dragon that does big things, but it is precisely because Attilan wants to do big things that the tribe cannot be involved. He has a cousin who is also a priest of the Centaur tribe. That tribe is much stronger than them, with as many as 300 warriors. Counting the elderly, the weak, women and children, it is a large tribe of thousands of centaurs. With a large population and heavy burden, they are somehow recruited by the swamp dragon to fight with the people in the east. As a result, the tribe has suffered heavy losses and is about to be ruthlessly abandoned by the swamp dragon. Hiss, why not package my cousin's tribe and sell it to the dragon, so that I can repay the favor of the dragon and take care of the family affection? The more I think about it, the more I think this is a good idea. Attilan's topic directly made everyone lose interest in continuing to discuss their own topics. They simply ended the academic seminar and went directly to the centaur tribe for practical operation. In less than a day, this group of druids, who burst out with several times the enthusiasm, designed the spiritual core, blessing elements, sacrificial rituals and other aspects of the totem war dance of the centaurs. The horse king was pushed onto the stage to lead the entire tribe of people and horses to form a big circle around the oak bonfire. As night fell, the bonfire was lit, singing the ballads that Attilan had just composed to praise the good virtues of centaurs, and waving the totem poles, masks and other symbols in their hands in the steps designed by several animal druids. The first experimental attempt of the totem war dance officially began. The light wind was called, lingering around the horse king and then finding another centaur. An invisible will seemed to be watching everything that happened here, and every centaur seemed to see the figure of the ancestors in the dancing flames. The horse king had an epiphany. His breath was expanding rapidly. And this grand totem war dance also had a special guest invited by Attilan, the Tauran chieftain. At this moment, the chieftain was activated by Attilan's brain. He was as smart as a true wise man and understood the changes that the centaurs in front of him had undergone with the war dance. He clenched his fists and told himself that the minotaurs must get this totem war dance that could change their fate. Don't envy the centaurs. Try the grilled fish. The totem war dance was designed by me first for you. You have the same as they have, and it will be better. The chieftain finally lowered his head to Attilan beside the campfire and half knelt on the ground to take the grilled fish. It is my honor to serve the Dragon Lord. Chapter 38. I was here first. Okay, today I have the help of the chief, which is better than 1,000 minotaurs. Attilan sighed that the school of life was powerful. If there was no brain activation technique to let the minotaur chief clearly understand the totem war dance, how much impact it would have on the future of the minotaur tribe. The chief would not bow down. In fact, it was not only the totem war dance that affected the chief's decision, but also the brain activation technique. After activating the brain, the chief realized that only one wise man could not change the future of the tribe. It was more important to have more ordinary people who could change the tribe little by little than the wise man. The changes brought by the wise man were too great. After losing the wise man, ordinary people could not operate the situation left by the wise man, let alone the minotaurs whose brains could not turn around. The smart brain and keen intuition told the chief that Attilan was the monarch he was most worthy of loyalty to in his life. After eating the grilled fish in 2 or 3 bites, the chief looked at Attilan with sparkling eyes. Dragon Lord, when will we go back to Bighorn Town to rehearse the totem war dance? Tomorrow, with a better template for the centaur totem war dance. Attilan's only concern was whether the Tauran's intelligence could understand it. After the druid's hasty optimization, the process of a whole set of totem war dance is a bit too complicated. Although this can ensure the improvement effect and cultural inheritance of the war dance, it is a test of the quality of the participants. The difference between actively integrating into the totem war dance and passively being influenced by the war dance is even 10 times. Today's rehearsal was so rushed that even the horse king didn't get much benefit. The old horse enjoyed it, but it was meaningless to him. He didn't understand the longevity of the druid. He didn't have a few decades to live without 10 times the lifespan. The time required to use the totem war dance to shape the racial characteristics is 10 years. In addition to the orthodox longevity body, druids actually have many flawed ways to extend their lifespans, such as plant transformation and elemental transformation. Originally, the old horse hoped that he could be an orthodox druid, born and died naturally. Now, for the better development of the tribe, he felt that he might need to use some tricks. After the totem war dance ceremony, the druids were about to leave, so Attilan invited everyone to sit in the tavern in Kingland Town tomorrow to discuss the details of the totem war dance. Through the sporadic conversations with this group of druids today, Attilan found that each of them was a treasure waiting for him to dig, and they all had more or less results. The chief was dizzy due to the side effects of brain activation, so Attilan left the chief and the centaur tribe to rest. He would return to Dajio Town tomorrow, and he would rush to Kingland Town to arrange the venue in advance. Although he didn't know how many druids would attend the banquet tomorrow, he had to be prepared. He had collected a variety of fruits in the forest to make wine before, and he certainly didn't study the druid profession of fruit planting and winemaking. It was just right for the wine girl to instruct the fishman chef in Kingland Town. When the chef learned that Attilan was going to entertain the druids in Kingland Town, the old fishman ran over excitedly. "Dragon Lord, in addition to the existing ingredients, do we need to prepare some rare ingredients from the lake?" "Yes, be careful not to go too deep into the lake, just catch a few big fish, taste them, and by the way, see if there are any golden crocodiles preying in the lake. You don't need to catch them back, just confirm where they are active. Sharp-toothed brother has escaped several crocodiles. It is said that he accidentally hatched a crocodile with white scales a few years ago, which happened to be a male. He used these white crocodiles to breed, and then he had a nest of golden crocodiles. It is called golden crocodiles, but in fact, the scales are white with yellow, and they reflect slightly under the sun, so they are called golden crocodiles. In addition to their appearance, the size and scales of golden crocodiles have also improved. Of course, Attilan did not intend to take the golden crocodiles. What he wanted were the other crocodiles that Sharp-toothed brother eliminated. Crocodiles can be said to be treasures all over. Crocodile meat tastes delicious, skin can be made into leather armor, and blood and bones are medicinal materials. It is also troublesome to manage too many crocodiles, and Attilan can help him digest them. Early in the morning, the leader of the Murlocs was the Murloc barbarian. After the last battle, he had been promoted to the leader of the Murlocs by Attilan, and 2 Murloc warriors were promoted to team leaders. After the battle, there were a total of 18 adult and underage Murloc warrior professionals, just divided into 2 teams. A group of 18 little Murlocs were born a few days ago. According to the old Murlocs test, several female Murlocs are pregnant again. Everything should be thanked to the wheat flour sent by the Dragon Lord, which shortened the gestation period of Murlocs from 1 year to half a year, and there are also 2 Murlocs born in 1 litter. The shortest gestation period of Murlocs can be shortened to 3 months, and there is a chance to give birth to 3 babies in 1 litter, and an adult Murloc can be cultivated in 5 years. Even though it is difficult for Murlocs to become professionals and to upgrade their professional levels, Murlocs almost became the rulers of the ocean by relying on their fertility. Of course, that is the sea devil Shadow Murloc. If Shadow Murlocs are sharks, then the Murlocs under Attilan are their domesticated mounts, big bluefish. The spirit of the bluefish led by the Murlocs was a battle partner of the then warlord when he was in the center of the lake. When this big bluefish died 2 years ago, it weighed more than 500 kilograms, was 3.8 meters long, and lived for almost 50 years. After experiencing the rise and fall of this Murloc tribe, it can become a spirit, and it is also influenced by the spiritual core of the Murloc tribe's unity. Its existence supports the souls of the Murlocs to a certain extent and gains the power of faith. When the druids came to Kingland Town one after another at noon, they all sensed the existence of the bluefish spirit, and lamented that such a rare spirit was born in a small tribe with less than 100 people. Everyone sat around the long table on the first floor of the tavern, and the leopard girl was the most lively and direct. "There is a spirit in this Murloc tribe, why don't you try your totem war dance here? Instead, put it in the Torn tribe." The old Murloc who happened to come in to deliver food heard it. He was worried about handing it over to the clumsy junior, but he didn't expect to hear this news. Although the fighting power of the Murlocs is indeed not as good as that of the Tauren, they are loyal and will never betray the Dragon Lord. Most importantly, they were the first to come. As the first tribe to pledge allegiance to the Dragon Lord, shouldn't they be given the first chance to enjoy good things? "Dragon Lord, respect the druids. This is the first dish, honey nut cake, and rose tea, please enjoy." When the dishes were served, the old Murloc looked at Attilan with resentful eyes from time to time, which made him feel a little embarrassed. It was not that he did not arrange a totem war dance for the Murlocs, but the situation of the Murlocs was completely different from that of the Tauren. This Murloc tribe was special. Chapter 39 Rabbit Car Drift. The existence of the bluefish spirit proves that the Murlocs already have their own heritage, but the upper limit of the Murlocs will not be too high if they build a totem war dance around the bluefish spirit and the water element. As the first dependent tribe of Attilan, the ocean dragon, The Murlocs should accompany him all the way. Therefore, the Murlocs should not only be able to stably produce superior professionals above level 10. The Murloc commander should preferably be a top professional above level 15. And now the most powerful commander in the tribe is just a low level 5 barbarian. I heard from the old Murloc that the commander has shown signs of a breakthrough, so it is best to wait until he breaks through before choreographing the Murloc Totem War Dance, and their war dance should be linked to him as the Dragon Master, so that the Murlocs have a chance to produce top professionals. As an ocean dragon, Attilan knows that the vast ocean is the environment where he can best display his talents, and the most suitable race in the ocean to become his dependents is the Murlocs. Although it may sound a bit arrogant, Attilan's goal is not only the land under its feet, but also the blue ocean outside the land. If Attilan finds other continents, it does not mind conquering them. If other ethnic groups are allowed to sail across the ocean to conquer the continent, the shipbuilding and navigation technology requires the participation of magic. This continent has a kingdom that has mastered this level of magic technology. It is very difficult to conquer the magic kingdom, and even among the magic kingdoms, only the elf port in the south of the continent has the technology to build magic ships to communicate with other continents. The entire kingdom consists of a port city and some surrounding villages. It occupies a small area, but its influence and combat effectiveness are among the best in the entire continent. It has the only established navy on the continent and controls 90% of the ocean trade, so coastal countries dare not offend the elf port. I have already conceived about the war dance of the Murlocs, but the Taurens are stupid. Their war dance needs to be choreographed and promoted as soon as possible. If there are problems during the trial, they should be corrected in time. Some things are not necessarily good if they are obtained first. Summarize the experience of failure and improve the results, so that you don't have to toss back and forth. After watching the experiment last night, I found many problems. You can see my new arrangement. Hearing Attilan's words before leaving, the old Murloc's heart was warm. Last night, Attilan updated the version of the Tauren Totem War Dance overnight, integrating the insights of watching the Centaur War Dance. It seems more cumbersome, but it works better when used by the Tauren. The druids ate honey nut cakes and took turns to watch the 2 detailed explanations of the Tauren War Dance written by Attilan. The old centaur asked in surprise, "You extend the process and spend more time, but the benefits of the war dance have not increased. What is the purpose of doing this? It is not unreasonable to let the centaurs choose the wind element. The 4 hooves allow them to run fast, and also keep their impatience in their bones. Earth element and the earth symbolize heaviness and calmness. I think this is more in line with the spiritual core I chose for the Tauren." Leopard Woman's thinking was too jumpy. Everyone was discussing the inappropriate parts of Attilan's updated war dance, but she was the only one who was crazy about showing off nutcakes and rose tea. "Why don't you eat?" Although Attilan nominally invited everyone to come for a tea party, who came here to eat? They were all druids, and what good ingredients hadn't they eaten? The delicacies from the mountains and the sea were not worth mentioning, but for the sake of face, everyone just picked up a piece and tasted it. The taste was actually quite good. When did the Murlocs produce such an excellent chef? The cooking method was also very strange. At this time, the second dish came, cold mixed pig ears. What is this? Many people cannot accept eating the heads and internal organs of animals, and the druids are the same. Even if someone has eaten pig ears, they can't recognize them after they are stewed with spices and cut into shreds. Others are still thinking that Leopard Woman has already mastered it. The first dish is delicious, and the second dish will definitely not be bad. It's delicious. The sour and spicy sauce wraps the meat I've never seen before. It's soft and sticky on the outside, and crispy like a bone on the inside. I like it. After tasting it, everyone gave it a unanimous praise. This experience is very novel. Horseradish white meat, braised pork chops, braised pork elbows, fried pork heart, stir-fried liver and waist, fried fish with essence, sashimi, boiled fish fillet, fish soup, a wide variety of dishes were placed on the table, and all the druids were stunned. It turns out that a pig can make so many different dishes. As they ate, everyone forgot that they were here to discuss war dance. After the wine brewed by Attilan was served, the wine girl finally had the opportunity to express her opinion. "Your wine is not good. The brewing skills are not up to standard. There are many impurities in it that affect the flavor of the wine. The grapes are not very good either. If you have a chance, come to my orchard and I will teach you how to grow grapes and make wine. Now I can only do a simple treatment so that everyone will not be poisoned after drinking it. Attilan didn't know what magic the wine girl used. Anyway, the wine did become clearer and tasted more mellow. Such a big improvement can only be regarded as a simple treatment. Then the wine carefully brewed by the wine girl, wouldn't it be heavenly? The most common staple food on the whole banquet was honey bread. After eating and drinking, the druids dispersed. Everyone told Attilan their address so that he could come to the door for help if he needed it. For the sake of food, they made Attilan their friend. The old man didn't leave. He wanted to take Attilan to see the wild boar. Old man, through these dishes today, I know that you and the old guy must have common topics. In addition to playing, his favorite thing is to eat. You asked the kitchen to pack some food. We should be able to find him now, good at eating, drinking and having fun. It doesn't sound like a serious druid. Following the old horse to a strange place, he felt that the animals and plants around him were all emitting cheerful emotions. Not only had he never been here before, he had not even noticed that there was such a place in the forest. It was confirmed that this was a master. Many of his works live here. The old man doesn't like to touch his things. You must not move around. Just look at them with your eyes. After whispering to Attilan, the old horse shouted at the top of his voice, "Old man, I'm here to see you." With a sound of rustling, a cool chariot rushed out of the forest and drifted to a stop in front of the old horse. Attilan didn't expect to see such an explosive thing in his lifetime. "Little pony, isn't my car cool? This is a chariot pulled by 16 rabbits. Old man, what new breed have you come up with? Last time you said you wanted to breed ivory pigs. How come you turned it into rabbits pulling carts?" The old man with a wizard hat and tattered clothes and a white beard said a little crazily, "The halfling asked me to race a car. I looked around and found that these rabbits are the fastest. I am training them." He actually said that an old man can't outrun a young man. I'm so angry. I'm going to let him see the wisdom of the elderly. Chapter 40 Breeding Pigs. I didn't expect that this matter would involve halflings. Holding a speed race is indeed in line with the hedonism of halflings. How are you going to compete? Hearing Attilan's question, the old man seemed to have just noticed that there was a dragon next to him. Are you George's new apprentice? I thought Gina was joking when she said he accepted a dragon as an apprentice, but I didn't expect that I really saw a dragon druid. The old man suddenly jumped off the chariot excitedly, ran to Attilan, and wanted to touch him with his dirty hands. In fact, we brought some food for you, senior. Otherwise, you should eat something first, because the food will be cold later. When he heard that there was something to eat, the old man's eyes lit up. Let me see what good things you brought. After opening the box, the old man became even more excited. I've never seen this kind of food before. Let me try it. He grabbed it directly, completely ignoring the tableware prepared by Attilan. Senior, I think you should wash your hands when tasting delicious food, so that you can taste the most complete taste of the food. The old man stopped for a moment. You're right. He stretched his hand to the side and happened to reach into a bowl of water. The water automatically spun and washed his hand clean. Attilan's eyes widened. How could he play like this? He was obviously the ocean dragon, but he couldn't play the water element as well as an old man. Can we eat it now, please, senior? Not bad. When did such a creative chef come to the forest? These plants can actually be used to cook and eat. Bay leaves, orange peels, black pepper, onions. I'll try it next time. The old guy had a lot of things. He could taste the spices used by Attilan in one bite. Pork is so delicious, I want to raise more. Seeing the old man mention pigs, the old man immediately chimed in. Where are your ivory pigs? Call them out so we can see. Attilan came to you to see the wild boars you raised, but instead of the pigs, we also lost a lot of pork. The old man waved his hand casually and said, why don't you just kill 2 pigs and take them away when you leave? The meat will surely be better than yours. After eating and drinking, seeing that Attilan was indeed interested in wild boars, the old man took them to the pig farm, pointed to the wild boars inside and introduced, the shortest tusk is 1 meter, and the longest wild boar tooth I have is only 50 centimeters. I also tried to increase the size of the wild boar, but the fangs that grew out were even uglier. Don't worry about the size of the tusks, but wild boar tusks are ugly. Ivory is white and shiny. Look at the wild boar tusks. They're too ugly. Attilan didn't expect that the old man was still a face control, but he didn't plan to continue training because he disliked the appearance of wild boar tusks. How about we polish it manually? The old man glanced at Attilan with disdain. Why would I bother with artificial polishing? I want it to be pure natural. Facing the old man's disdain, Attilan pretended not to notice it. If I want a war pig that can charge with a load of 300 kilograms, how do you think it should be cultivated? I don't participate in wars. At most, I will provide you with breeding pigs for the sake of food. It is difficult to cultivate a wild boar that can charge with a load of 300 kilograms. I hope you can do it. As he said that, the old man raised his hand and summoned a wild boar. Using the secret technique of the School of Life to explore, Attilan found that the characteristics of this wild boar are large size, fast growth, and large tusks. Compared with war pigs, these characteristics seem to be more suitable for breeding meat pigs. Hiss, Attilan asked, Senior, do you have other kinds of wild boars here? Of course, I'll take you to see. Druid cultivation is a bit like melting cards. You choose the characteristics you need to fuse. What specific cards can be produced depends on what wild boar characteristics you have analyzed. Select the ones you need and block the ones you don't need. Strength is important, otherwise the analyzed traits are not comprehensive. Luck is also important, because relying on the human brain to remember all the genes of wild boars and to combine and match them, even legendary wizards may not be able to withstand it. If a computer burns out, you can get another one, but if a human brain burns out, there is no replacement. Therefore, you can only choose roughly and then rely on luck. In addition to the two traits of fast growth and large size, Attilan also needs a good absorption, so that feed can be saved. All the pig breeds are here, you can take your time to choose. I'm going to practice driving, and I must let him know how powerful I am in the competition the day after tomorrow. There are 3 types of pigs with good absorption traits. In the end, Attilan chose the one with good absorption and strong disease resistance, although this type of pig is not big. Meat pigs may not live to adulthood, as long as they absorb well, grow fast, and are smaller, the fat rate is best. With sufficient lard and pork, Attilan can recruit warriors with confidence. There are 2 male and 2 female pigs of each type. Attilan can only pray that his luck is good enough to breed the pig breed he wants. After the meat pigs were selected, the war pigs were selected. Few people would form a boar rider, so which characteristics would be beneficial to a cavalry like a boar rider? We could only try a little bit at a time. Attilan temporarily identified the characteristics of war pigs as large tusks, strong impact, fast acceleration, good endurance, and high load-bearing capacity. The most important thing was actually tameness, but this characteristic was not generally found in wild boars. Perhaps only rangers could tame wild boars to become cavalry. If war pigs could not be bred, then we could only envy centaurs. This race that could naturally adapt to various cavalry really could not be missed. After selecting the breeding pigs, Attilan did not plan to go back immediately. He still wanted to see the old man training, but it was the old man who reminded him. Did you forget that you still have to train the Minotaur Totem War Dance today? What a pity. The Totem War Dance can be practiced at any time, but the rabbit chariot can only be seen here. If it were not for the fact that the Minotaur chieftain had just been subdued, Attilan really wanted to stay. Senior, where will you be competing the day after tomorrow? Can I go and watch? No problem. After getting the address of the competition, Attilan said goodbye to the old man with the selected breeding pigs. The old man thoughtfully gave Attilan a cart with the breeding pigs on it, and the wild boar was also pulling the cart. Before leaving, Attilan had an idea. Senior, do you mind having one more contestant in the competition? The old man looked at him puzzledly. Your size doesn't seem suitable for participating in this kind of competition. Right, it's not me, it's a friend, so I'll use your cart and wild boar. Attilan couldn't participate, but the goat man could. Since he couldn't be a contestant, Attilan felt that he could guest coach and add a little fun to his dull life. It was also a reward for the hard work of the goat man during this period. No problem, the competition needs more people to be lively. Gray rabbit, mastiff, wild boar, I also want to know who runs faster. Mastiff, the person competing with you won't be Big Fang, right? Chapter 41. Watch me bring him up the mountain. Big Fang is the druid whose mastiff is about to give birth. I didn't expect that he is actually a halfling. He will race with the old man the day after tomorrow. The story of the mastiff giving birth is not made up, right? Just to have more time to practice driving? Through this racing competition, he will get closer to the halfling druids, and then communicate with a halfling town through Big Fang to recruit halfling chefs and musicians to work in Kingland Town and Ajao Town. Wait, Attilan suddenly thought that he didn't seem to have the money to hire halflings, so he could only provide food and accommodation, and the salary and benefits were negotiable. Although he had no money, he had dozens of sheepskins hunted by the Tauren during this period, which could be made into sheepskin windbreakers and sold in the halfling town, or used as wages to pay the halflings. He might not be a good boss, but after decades of influence before crossing, he had a lot of insights on how to be a black-hearted boss. Although Attilan has been busy with the Totem War Dance project in the forest these days, he immediately asked the fishmen to send the milk vetch seeds to Dajio town after getting them, so that the Minotaurs could plant them in the new fields. It takes time to fertilize the fields with milk vetch, but wheat planting can no longer be delayed. A lower yield is better than no yield. 500 acres are planted with the wheat, and the remaining 500 acres are used for farming. Planting 500 acres of wheat is also a part of the Totem War Dance. When the Minotaurs master the technology of crop planting, they will be closely connected with this land. Attilan chose the earth element for them, and the Minotaurs should establish a bond with the earth. Attilan was very pleased to see the milk vetch sprouting in the farmland, but the Minotaurs who sowed the seeds may have been careless, causing the seeds to form green lines in the fields. There was empty soil between the green lines. Just when he wanted to go back and get some more seeds to replant, a flash of inspiration exploded in his brain. Intercropping. Plant Chinese milk vetch in one row and wheat in another row. After a round of harvest, swap the planting positions. Plant wheat in the fertile soil after planting Chinese milk vetch. Plant Chinese milk vetch in the soil that has been drained by wheat to supplement the fertilizer. Combined with fermented farmyard manure for irrigation, the wheat yield should be good. The satyr happened to hear Attilan mumbling to himself beside the farmland. He saw the wild boar chariot and couldn't help wanting to drive it, so he came to ask who the chariot belonged to. This was the first time the satyr had seen a wild boar pulling a chariot, and it was such an obedient pig. It was obvious that the fishman couldn't drive it, and the wild boar was completely following Attilan on its own. With his skills, if he cooperated with this wild boar tacitly, he would have an 80% chance of winning the championship of the racing chariot competition in Halfling Town this year. He wanted to give it a try. Hearing Attilan mention the gap in the middle, the satyr scratched his head in embarrassment. I wanted to make up for it, but all the seeds were planted. Attilan waved his hand cheerfully. This mistake made me think of a solution to the planting time problem. After listening to Attilan's explanation, the goatman asked in confusion. What's the difference between planting wheat on one field and Chinese astragalus on another? You plan to plant two plants at intervals like now, which increases the difficulty of planting. I don't see any extra benefits. Let's not talk about this. I want to ask you where you got the wild boar chariot. Can you lend it to me to participate in the competition? I signed you up for a competition. The participants are all masters. If nothing unexpected happens, you should be the last one. The wild boar chariot was lent to me by the contestant. Why are you the only one here? Where is the chief? Looking around, Attilan didn't see the one-story high figure. He came back in the morning with a copy of your appointment letter in his hand. After reporting to me, he took his new axe and went south, saying that he was going to give you a surprise. What does he want to do? The goatman was absent-minded, his eyes fixed on the wild boar feeding on the hillside. I guess he thinks that the others have been promoted because of their hard work, and it is not appropriate for him to be the warlord directly. He wants to make some achievements first to prove that your choice is right. The chief should be planning to respond to his instructions to capture Sans sheep alive and bring back a flock of Sans sheep. He can catch 10 of them by himself. Besides, he is the chief, so he is just the right person to be the warlord. The chief of the 11th level barbarians will not die if he acts alone. Attilan is now concerned about how much better intercropping is than crop rotation. There are astragalus on both sides of the wheat, and it can get some fertility nourishment solidified by astragalus. It is necessary to ensure that the soil fertility will not be drained after planting wheat, otherwise it will be difficult to recover. There is a field of alfalfa in the forest. When the chief comes back, let 2 teams of Tauren drive all the Sans sheep there to graze. Remember to build fences to protect the Sans sheep. Under Attilan's guidance, the fish people built fish ponds to raise herbivorous fish, and the main feed is alfalfa. Alfalfa, commonly known as clover, is the king of forage grasses. It can be fed to cattle, sheep, chickens, ducks, pigs, fish and other livestock. Even fishermen have started to eat alfalfa as food on a daily basis. Attilan plans to plant it in the wasteland hills. Alfalfa can also fertilize the fields. Let the Minotaurs eat some alfalfa to neutralize their temper. Suddenly, the little fishman number 1 rushed over. It's not good, Dragon Lord. When I was scouting, I found that the dust was flying in the south. It seemed that an army was approaching quickly. They should have targeted Bighorn Town for looting. No, Bighorn Town is poor and there are a group of irritable minotaurs. Who would come to loot such a place without fear of bloodshed? Mep, go organize the minotaurs to prepare for battle. I'll go and see the situation. After flying south and approaching the dust, Attilan found that it was a group of minotaurs rushing to Bighorn Town. The minotaur leading the minotaur was holding a short axe, and it was the minotaur chieftain. Last night, in order to match the chief's body shape, the axe handle was replaced with a new one, a 2.5-meter long wooden stick, but it still became a short axe in the chief's hand. Lista, are you betraying me? Attilan did not continue to approach, but turned back to Bighorn Town to prepare for battle. As a result, after waiting for a long time, the team led by the chief did not get close to Bighorn Town. Attilan set out again to investigate the situation and found that they were waiting for the people who fell behind. Seeing their relaxed expressions, they were carrying large and small bags of things, and the last few people drove dozens of sand sheep to follow them. It was obvious that they were not here to rob. Attilan was relieved. After the chief arrived at Bighorn Town with a tribe of minotaurs, Attilan greeted them curiously. Lista, what's going on with this group of minotaurs? I think the great cause of the Dragon Lord needs more manpower. I happened to meet them when I was hunting sheep, so I used a little trick to make them submit to me, and then I took them to join the Dragon Lord. There were dozens of big eaters again. Attilan knew that he had to buy wheat bran from the halfling town, mix alfalfa, mushrooms, and sand sheep scraps to make meat paste to feed this group of minotaurs. I just happened to meet them when I was hunting sheep and forced them to come up the mountain. Don't think I didn't see that the original minotaur leader vomited blood. Please read, comment, reward, monthly ticket, recommendation ticket, everything. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Robbery is out of date. Although he had subdued the Tauren chieftain, Attilan did not know his past. Lista, who could be said to be a Tauren racial supremacist, was determined to lead the Taurens to the top. Until he was captured by Attilan, he firmly believed that he was on the right path. But the experience during this period told him that he was wrong, very wrong. Especially after surrendering to Attilan, Attilan asked him what his name was, and he realized that he didn't even have a name. Attilan gave him the name Lista, hoping that he would reach a new peak with this name. The name was also the catalyst for the chieftain to make such an amazing move. He hoped to live up to Attilan's high hopes. Since he was captured, Attilan treated him differently from other Taurens. At first, the chieftain just wanted to catch a group of sand sheep back, but who knew that this Tauren tribe was also hunting this group of sand sheep? It was easy to subdue them. He challenged the sacred bullhorns and defeated the original chieftain with 3 punches. He had already restrained his strength, otherwise the chieftain would not be as simple as vomiting blood. He used to think that the old and weak had no value, but now the chief has been influenced by Attilan's new ideas and knows that everyone has value. It just depends on whether the leader will develop it. Although the old and weak cannot fight for the tribe's living space, they are more suitable for delicate work such as farming and building houses. The weak will learn to think with their brains. The tribe he conquered this time is indeed not as strong as the one he founded, but their clothes and tools are indeed more civilized. Although there are not many, the lower clothes with a piece of sheepskin and vines as belts are indeed more elegant than their casual ones. I didn't think so before, but after seeing the centaur tribe wearing sackcloth and understanding the concept of clothes, the chief suddenly felt that they were hot when he saw them when he came back. The chief brought back more than 40 minotaurs, because the half-goat man had to practice driving, and because of the old naughty boy, he had to run. Attilan felt that he was a treasure, and many livestock needed to build a natural empire could be found in his home. Therefore, Attilan had to be personally responsible for the food problem of the 90 minotaurs. Just when he wanted to find people to help buy 10,000 kilograms of wheat bran, the chieftain found him and hoped to withdraw some sheepskin to make a body-covering lower garment for all the minotaurs. Don't worry, this issue is already being promoted. The cowhide of the minotaurs is very thick and does not need clothes to keep warm. Moreover, it will definitely be uncomfortable for you to let them wear sheepskin skirts in the desert temperature. When the linen is woven, I will definitely let the fishermen send a batch to make a uniform for everyone. As for the linen weaving project, it is now advancing to the first step, expanding the planting area of flax, the raw material of linen, and trying to weave linen into linen. The only knowledge Attilan has is to soak flax to extract fibers, and then bake the fibers and twist the linen threads. Linen weaving requires a loom, which Attilan does not understand. A technical guide is needed. There should be someone who is good at weaving among the druids. Because neither the fishmen nor the minotaurs need clothes to cover their bodies. Linen has a lower priority in Attilan's mind. He did not expect that the chieftain would awaken his sense of shame after being stimulated by the brain activation technique. It's so rare. The chief is simply a typical example of the transformation of the Tauren. He himself transformed from the chaotic evil camp to the lawful evil camp, and now there are signs of further transformation to the lawful neutral camp. The division of camps cannot be so absolute. Maybe it will change again at any time. Anyway, Attilan believes that it is enough to transform the Tauren into lawful evil. He does not require all the tribes under his command to be kind. As long as they can follow his instructions and complete his requirements and do not betray him, it will be fine. The first task is to solve the food problem. Lista, what do you think, Dragon Lord? Why don't we take the warriors to the desert to plunder other tribes? Without civilization and commerce, plunder seems to be the only choice for the Tauren. Attilan sighed. Well, you take 10 people with me, and let the others stay to continue to reclaim the wasteland, collect dead branches and leaves for burning, clear the river and dig canals. Dragon Lord, where are we going? To the halfling town. Attilan didn't finish his words when he heard the chief clapping excitedly. Lord Dragon is smart. Although halfling town is far away, the gains from robbing it once are more than robbing 10 wilderness tribes. Attilan was silent. He had just praised the chief for his change, but he changed back. His mind was still on plundering and collecting protection fees. Halfling town is the nearest civilized place, and it is difficult to find a market with stable grain production and such low prices. We use money to buy food. Halflings are good at planting. There is a lot of grain stored in the granary. We exchange the food with the goods they like. If halflings want more goods, they will plant more food. If the grain output is high, we can get more food with the same goods. Do you understand? Although he didn't understand, the chief felt it was amazing, but he felt there was a problem. Dragon Lord, we don't seem to have any goods that the halflings like. Why don't we rob them first? Anyway, they don't know that the Tauren are warriors under the Dragon Lord. Let the centaurs and murlocs do the trading. I think the murlocs are good at building houses. When the time comes, we can tear down the halflings' houses and let the murlocs build them. Would that make another profit? He could actually come up with such a series of schemes. How could he still be the chief of the Tauren? He was simply the reincarnation of the sleeping dragon. No. The halfling town will become my dependent sooner or later. What's the difference between doing this and destroying my own house? When the time is right, he will lay out the Tauren infantry, centaurs, and murloc sailors in front of the halflings, and then he, the Dragon Lord, will descend from the sky. Invite the halflings to join the big family, and they will protect the halflings in the future. The halflings only need to grow wheat and provide cooks. In the future, they will live a carefree life under the protection of the army. Just ask the halflings if they are touched. At this moment, a clear eagle cry suddenly sounded in the sky, and a snow-white storm eagle appeared in front of Attilan. Eagle King, why is he here? After landing, the Eagle King handed the package in his hand to Attilan and asked impatiently, what experiment did you promise the master to do? He actually asked me to send you 5 life acorns, and said that if you can eat them, all the acorns in the forest are yours. In the past, we were tortured to death when we did experiments with 3 acorns. I'm afraid that your experiment with no upper limit will cost you your life. Is it so serious? Attilan widened his eyes when he heard it, and suddenly felt that the life acorns were not so easy to eat into the stomach. He felt that Laodang was a black-hearted boss. The Eagle King looked at him sincerely. Don't worry, the master will not let you die. At most, you will be worse off than death. Attilan's claws trembled slightly. It's more terrible to be worse off than death. Okay. Please read, comment, reward, monthly ticket, recommendation ticket, everything. Chapter 43, Reign of Grace. Attilan knew that the life acorns of Bear Laodang were not easy to get, but he didn't expect it to be so difficult. The expression of the Eagle King told him that it was all true. Even Laodang asked the Eagle King to send the life acorns to give him a shot of prevention. If he didn't take the last 2 months of training seriously, strengthen his physical fitness and recovery ability, improve the effect of spellcasting and reduce consumption, and other abilities that would help the life trial. At that time, Lao Deng would make him deeply realize how to write the 4 words life is worse than death. Looking at the worried Attilan, the Eagle King spoke to comfort him. Although it is very tiring and hard, I have gained a lot from doing experiments with the master. If it weren't for the master, my connection with the wind element would not be so close, and how could I have the opportunity to meet the wind element giant, elemental giant? He, an ocean dragon with a natural affinity for water elements, couldn't communicate with the water element plane and gain the friendship of the water element giant. The Eagle King actually has a wind element giant friend. Wait a minute, he seems to have been born for 3 months, but he has never tried to communicate with the water element plane once, and he hasn't sent a friend request. Where did his friends come from? Given the size of the dragon lake, the swamp dragon must have communicated with the water elemental plane and recruited the elemental giants to work for him. Attilan's communication with the water elemental plane would not only fail to gain the friendship of the water elemental creatures, but would also expose his position, letting the swamp dragon know that there is an ocean dragon near the lake. To communicate with the water elemental plane, one must stay away from the dragon lake. There is also a certain correspondence between the material plane and the elemental plane. When the trial of life is over, Attilan estimates that his strength will not be much worse than that of the young dragon. If it weren't for the great effect of the life acorn in improving strength, who would be willing to be an assistant to Bear Old Deng? Are you planning to transform elemental life? The Eagle King rolled his eyes at Attilan and said, "Can you stop giving people nicknames so skillfully? I said at the party that my name is IGE, and Storm Eagle is good, but I want to try to impact the archdruid, very ambitious. A level 20 archdruid is already a dragon among men, and the old urchin is an archdruid." Attilan did not feel the uniqueness of the bear man and the ivy girl in him. The things that the old naughty boy studied were not helpful for improving his strength, but his skills can be seen from them. Just eat the life acorn directly. If you need a sparring partner, you can find me in the forest. Practicing with a dragon is also a rare experience for the Eagle King. Maybe it can help him perfect the transformation of the storm eagle. Okay, Eagle King, do you know who among the druids is good at weaving? I want my Murloc weaver to learn from me. The best one must be Master Jaina. Her magic weaving is unique, but it's not easy to trouble the master for such a small matter. There is a black forest north of the great river. There is a half-elf druid who raises spiders to weave silk. Maybe you can go and ask her for advice. Hiss, spiders spinning silk. Can they be the offspring of drow elves and humans? I'll go and see when I have time. Now digest the life acorn first. The horrific scene described by the Eagle King directly made Attilan give up leading the torrent to the halfling town, and he directly threw it to the half-goat man. You drive Lista and the others to buy 10,000 kilograms of wheat bran to eat. 10,000 kilograms of wheat bran. Eating all wheat bran is too much, isn't it? Then buy 7,000 kilograms of wheat bran and 3,000 kilograms of black beans. Black beans are cheap, so you can buy more. Anyway, you only have so much money, so you can buy whatever you want. The mutton jerky made with spices is very popular among halflings. 200 kilograms of mutton jerky should be able to exchange for 4,000 kilograms of wheat flour. I will buy another 4,000 kilograms of wheat bran and 6,000 kilograms of black beans. Adding the harvest from hunting should be enough to last until the wheat harvest, but the planting area needs to be expanded by at least 1,000 acres. You decide. I'm going to practice. Attilan flew into the sky, leaving the half-goat man shaking his head helplessly. Back to the junction of the forest and the lake, not far from Kingland town. This is Attilan's first dragon nest. When he meditates and practices, he will go into the dragon nest that he has reinforced twice. As an ocean dragon druid, he absorbs power from the forest and the lake. Both can provide the original force that is extremely suitable for him to absorb and strengthen his dragon body and magic. Attilan guided the two opposing energies at the junction to collide in his body. He felt very uncomfortable being caught in the middle, but the collision could refine his magic power, make his scales solid, and his blood, thick and hot like liquid metal, kept surging. He was not here to use the pressure field to temper his body today, but to assist in digesting and absorbing the life energy of the life acorn, so that not a drop would be wasted. He took out an acorn, and as he chewed it, a sweet juice rolled in his mouth, swallowed it into his stomach, flowed to Attilan's limbs, and finally gathered in his heart. With the nourishment of life energy, Attilan's body exuded a glittering green light, driving the energy of the forest and the lake to form an invisible vortex in the dragon's nest. Ordinary fishermen could only feel a slight breeze in Kingland Town, but the old fishermen, relying on their years of practice as water element shamans, felt the abnormal fluctuations of the water element. Attilan let the water element bring the effect of nourishing life in his breath, dyeing the lake water flowing through the dragon's nest with a touch of green. The water of life was diluted as the water flow spread, and was absorbed by the plants and animals in the water and disappeared. The effect of the water of life has enhanced the vitality of this area. The fishermen were surprised by the lush water plants and plump fish and shrimps here. The water they brought back was enough food for 10 fishermen for a day. Even though they stored a lot of wheat flour, the fishermen still maintained their original living habits, but according to Attilan's instructions, there was an extra piece of bread on the table. Attilan also vaguely noticed his talent of life breathing, but he could not release it actively. He could only breathe out the breath of life instinctively when meditating. Life breathing is introduced in the inherited memory. Because this talent does not have a positive effect on the ocean dragon itself, there are not many ways to train life breathing. The predecessors all practiced the water of life to drive the effect of life breathing, or naturally mastered the control method as they grew older. Only Attilan took the initiative to exercise life breathing. The wonderful thing about life breathing is that it is always running automatically. Attilan wants to master life breathing. Cooperate with a weakened version of the rain and snowstorm he decomposed. Rainfall plus life breathing can be used for fertilization, and can also be used as a reward of grace rain to relieve fatigue and replenish energy for his followers who work for him. As the acorn of life was swallowed, Attilan meditated and felt the changes in his vitality and breathing at all times. Finally, he mastered the breathing of life today. He immediately broke through the water surface and cast a spell to use the rain spell. The white clouds continued to grow. Wisps of emerald green mist were exhaled from Attilan's nose, merged into the rain clouds, and finally turned into the rain of grace. The current rain of grace can only be regarded as a combination spell of the ocean dragon, but sooner or later, Attilan will turn it into a druid spell of the school of life and teach it to his disciples. Please vote for the monthly ticket, please read, please recommend, please comment, and please reward. Chapter 44. What do you mean by heavenly thunder body tempering? You obviously want me to die. The reign of grace is the academic achievement of Attilan during his practice. It should be promoted to let more druids know. It would be best to write a paper to summarize the significance of this spell in the era. Although he often travels around, every time he meets with a bear man, the bear man will teach him druid knowledge as much as possible. As a master, the bear man is still very responsible. Tell him that druids also have spells similar to the water of life, which is used to ensure that the seeds planted can germinate healthily. The effect is definitely not as good as the innate ability of the ocean dragon. But this irrigation spring is worth learning for Attilan. Comparing the similarities and differences between the irrigation spring and the water of life will help him understand vitality more deeply. He learned the irrigation spring, but he was not serious enough in comparison. Now he must optimize the casting method of the water of life through the exquisite spell structure of the irrigation spring. Because of the difference in strength between him and the oak guard, Attilan must optimize the water of life by increasing the effectiveness of spells, and the lightning breath must also be increased, but the breath is not a spell. Researching thunder waves does not work. Instead, it was an accident that allowed Attilan to develop a new use for thunder wave, which was to strike himself. Lightning to temper the body. It originated from Attilan's idea when he had a brain seizure. If he wanted to understand why lightning hitting plants would promote plant growth, the best way would definitely be to be struck by lightning once. The breath could not hit the dragon itself, but the thunder wave could. The thunder wave struck the ocean dragon. Although only a slight current entered Attilan's body due to the dragon's strong magic resistance, he noticed the abnormal vitality of the area where the current passed. Thunder wave did not work, so Attilan delved into more advanced lightning magic. Level 1 Thunder Wave evolved into Level 3 Summoning Lightning, allowing Attilan to perform a lightning massage on himself every day to stimulate the flow of vitality and promote the growth of his body. Small dragons are more than 2.5 meters long, and medium dragons are more than 5 meters long. Now Attilan is 4.1 meters long, weighs 220 kilograms, has a wingspan of 8 meters, and stands 1.3 meters tall. He still has 2 months to accumulate. I believe that the acorn of life will help him grow into a medium-sized dragon before the trial of life. A larger body means more magic power can be stored, and physical strength and energy are more vigorous. Otherwise, Attilan has no confidence to face the extreme oppression of the bear people. He needs more practice to master the Rain of Grace, but practicing in the lake is a waste of his magic power. At present, the most nutritious industry under Attilan is pearl farming. The vitality, water elements and magic power in the Rain of Grace can improve the quality of pearls bred by river clams. There is a small probability that magic pearls will be born, and one can be exchanged for thousands of kilograms of flour. This is the value of magic pearls, but not everyone is willing to exchange so much food. But as long as it is labeled as beauty, widening tender skin, and returning to the age of 18, I believe that many older lords' wives will be willing to spend this money. Food can grow every year, but the opportunity to restore youth is not every year. Attilan came to the river clam field and drew a circle in the sky with a mirage as the center. As he turned, water vapor condensed into rain clouds, and a sparse rain fell. When the breath of life is combined with raindrops at the right time, the rain of grace falls. Feeling the rich vitality, the clam will actively float to the surface and open its shell to swallow the rain mist. Wisps of white mist spread out from the clam shell, and Attilan seemed to see a beautiful mermaid dancing in the pool. There was also a faint and seductive beautiful song in his ears. Attilan did not take the clam as his research subject, but in order to produce pearls of the quality that met the standards of the trickster's staff, he would feed the clam with some remaining water of life every few days. Most of the water of life is used to irrigate the oak seeds of the tree man. Attilan is still fantasizing about cultivating his own tree man, and even the oak hardcore. Through the water of life, the growth of the oak seeds is catalyzed to echo the magic of the forest. Attilan absorbs the magic of the forest to strengthen himself, and his strength is rapidly improved. With the water of life, Attilan can gain experience faster than other druids, otherwise he can reach the druid level 5 in less than 3 months. After comprehending the Rain of Grace today, Attilan successfully reached level 6. Although the bear man told him that it didn't matter whether they were animals or plants, what mattered was the amount of vitality they contained in their bodies. The essence of the Oak Guardian and the ancient Tree of Life was the increase in the amount of vitality and the improvement in quality. But Attilan still decided to start with plants to explore how to enhance vitality. Enhancing vitality is not about injecting vitality into the body and completely absorbing it. Only by paying attention to methods can the utilization rate of vitality be improved. This is how the druid's animal, plant, and elemental schools were divided. Plant growth is the focus of Attilan's next practice. After nourishing the clams, Attilan came to the alfalfa field in the forest. His practice today was to catalyze the alfalfa to mature and bear fruit. In this way, he not only completed the experiment of plant vitality growth, but also obtained alfalfa seeds. It can be sown in the reclaimed farmland as pasture and green manure. For the first growth, Attilan only chose a clover. With the infusion of green natural magic, the alfalfa began to grow, bloom, and bear fruit visibly. Nodding, recalling the process just now and confirming that he had mastered the growth of plants, Attilan chose to directly target an acre of alfalfa this time. Catalyzing the maturity of alfalfa on a large scale allowed Attilan to discover a little secret of plant growth, which could save about 5 points of magic power consumption, but 5 points were not enough. Only by reducing the consumption by half by 50 points could he support the cultivation of the ancient Tree of Life. After ripening the entire alfalfa field, Attilan sowed some seeds to keep the alfalfa field alive, and took away all the remaining seeds. Before leaving, he found that rapid catalysis would consume the vitality of the soil. Unless he used all his magic power to ripen the alfalfa, the soil fertility would inevitably weaken. He worked hard today, and the rest of the workflow would be continued tomorrow. Just when he was thinking about sending the alfalfa seeds to Kingland Town and asking the fishman to send them to Dajio Town, the bear man suddenly appeared in front of Attilan and asked cheerfully, "I know you have been using lightning to temper your body recently. I found a good place to attract lightning to temper your body. Do you want to try it, master? Why are you so elusive? But there is such a good place, I really want to go and see it." I knew you would want to go. Following the bear man Attilan, he came to an unfamiliar mountain. From time to time, he could see a purple crystal prism inserted in the soil. The faint flashing electric light made Attilan feel that this place was very strange. "Why didn't I see this mountain before?" The bear man did not answer Attilan's question, but said, "There are often thunders falling here. Those purple thunder crystals are formed in this way. If you attract the thunder to temper your body, Your dragon body will be stronger than dragons of the same age by at least one age group. Just at this time, a thunder fell from the sky and hit the soil and turned into lava. Attilan felt that the bear man brought him here to kill him. Please vote for the monthly ticket, please read, please recommend, please comment, please reward. Chapter 45 Life Control. The bear man saw Attilan's concerns. The power of the sky thunder is indeed very great. They piled up soil to build this lightning peak to avoid lightning strikes and ignite the forest. Ordinary lightning strikes only become nutrients for plant growth, but the thunderclouds here never dissipate all year round. The power of the sky thunder is too strong and also carries strange fire or water energy. The most violent lightning strike is the purple thunder with pure energy to form purple thunder crystals all over the ground. The fire thunder that hit the mountain just now was the fire thunder. With the magic resistance and affinity of the ocean dragon and the water element, the water thunder is to provide him with nutrients. The fire thunder can temper the dragon body without excessively hurting Attilan's body. Except for the purple thunder. According to the user experience obtained by the bear man after personally testing the 3 kinds of sky thunder, Attilan may not be able to withstand the attack of the purple thunder. The bear man brought him here just to let him temper his body with water thunder and fire thunder. Master, what if there is a sky thunder that I can't stand? I will take action. Okay. Attilan timidly flew towards the peak where the thunder fell. Suddenly he realized that something was wrong. Why did the bear man appear just after he finished practicing? He would go back to the forest to practice today, precisely because the bear man asked the Eagle King to send him the life acorn. After the practice, Loudang appeared. Did he plan everything? Just when he was about to go back and ask, a thunderbolt hit Attilan's back accurately, causing him to wail in pain, and his eyes went black as he plunged into the boiling lava. The bear man could only pretend not to see such an eye-catching operation. You should concentrate during training, use the self-healing technique to transform and devour the infiltrating thunderbolt, and make the most of the power of thunderbolt. You don't want to endure the pain but get little improvement, right? Self-healing technique? Attilan shook off the magma on his scales. In fact, the hot magma was not as harmful to the sea dragon as boiling water to humans. Of course, it hurt. Jumping out of the lava pit, Attilan used the self-healing technique to dispel the marks left by the lightning on his back. He was surprised to find that the improvement of the lightning strike seemed to be not much different from the life acorn. Is this thunder so powerful? The self-healing technique made him feel that he was fine again, and he took the initiative to fly to meet the second thunderbolt. The first sea mine made Attilan feel that the power of the sky thunder was within his tolerance, but when the second fire thunder with a faint red glow hit his back, Attilan instantly let out a dragon roar that could be heard within a radius of 10 miles. It hurts so much? If the pain of the sea mine is 10, then the fire thunder is 100 or more. Attilan crashed directly into the mountain. Studies have shown that new pain can distract you from the original pain. The bear man hit the dragon's body with a green light, and he suddenly felt his brain become extremely clear, so detailed that he could tell which parts of the body were in pain and the severity of the injury. How to use the self-healing technique to heal the lightning injury the fastest and most directly. And transform and swallow the thunder that poured into the body. A complete plan appeared in his mind in a breath. But it hurts even more. The bear man said calmly, you can rest after the effect of the brain activation technique wears off. Before that, no matter how many thunderbolts fall, as long as they don't kill you, you have to take them. I know your dragon body better than you do. With me here, you won't have to worry about your life. The bear man's tone was unquestionable, and Attilan had to bite the bullet and go ahead. The bear man was also speechless. He was relatively satisfied with Attilan as his apprentice, except for one thing, he was too afraid of death and had too high requirements for the quality of life. Not to mention recruiting followers, he also started to study magic cuisine. This quality of life was completely aimed at the emperor's enjoyment. He had lived for 300 years, and he had lived on simple meals, didn't he? Cultivation is inevitable to suffer. The bear man felt that if he didn't give Attilan more suffering, he was afraid that Attilan would not be able to meet his expectations and waste his talent. Even among the sea dragons, Attilan was a genius picked out of a million. Size is a very important indicator of the strength of a true dragon. According to the records of the life school on the founder, the ocean sub-dragon, the ancient dragon, the founder's size was only 80 meters when he said goodbye to his apprentice. That was a 1,500-year-old ancient dragon, and its size was only 80 meters. Attilan grew to 4.2 meters in 3 months. When he grows to the ancient dragon stage, the bear man dare not imagine how huge his size will be. It is precisely because Attilan is a rough jade that the bear man feels that he should carve him more carefully. Hold on for half an hour, I will teach you the advanced spell of self-healing. In this half an hour, you should work hard to operate the self-healing technique and experience the secret of self-healing. Hearing that there is an advanced version of self-healing, Attilan suddenly felt that being struck by lightning for half an hour was nothing, because self-healing is really easy to use. Convert natural magic into vitality, and store it in specific parts of the body at the same time. Take it out to heal when needed, and the vitality that is usually overflowing will also be collected and stored. Attilan believed that druids who learned self-healing would live longer, that is, the level of self-healing must be high. Now that self-healing has an advanced version, the functions he envisioned must be possessed by the advanced self-healing. After half an hour of hard work, Attilan finally got rid of the lightning strike. The bear sighed that he was very lucky, and he didn't even get hit by purple lightning. The effect of the brain activation spell faded, and Attilan suddenly felt dizzy. This spell can indeed increase combat effectiveness when used in battle, but if you can't defeat the opponent in half an hour, it's best to leave the battle 5 minutes in advance. Continue to use self-healing to remove the negative effects of brain activation. Attilan made preparations in advance, and tried to absorb the violent thunder energy in his body to transform vitality and remove the fatigue of the brain. It took him an hour to finally return to full state. The effect of running the self-healing spell and resting for an hour is comparable to the normal 4 hours. But the process is full of torture. The thunder and lightning energy here can be absorbed at will without worrying about damaging the environment. The feeling when absorbing is like touching a low-voltage wire with your hand. It won't kill you, but it will make you numb. When Attilan woke up, the bear man began his teaching of the school of life. Next, I will teach you the most core skill of the school of life, life control. All the generations of life druids have been studying how to apply vitality, but to develop the use of vitality, you must first understand it and control it. Then you can let vitality play its due role according to your idea. Controlling vitality is crucial for you to develop your own bloodline of the ocean dragon. The ocean dragon looks like a water dragon, but it is actually more closely related to life, known as the symbol of ocean vitality. You have been struck by lightning for half an hour. I think you also have a clear understanding of the vitality contained in the dragon body, and you can start to practice controlling yourself. The pain of controlling life is far beyond imagination. Are you ready? Attilan looked at the bear man with grief and anger, so being struck by lightning can only be regarded as an appetizer. Are you a devil in bear skin? Gravity, electromagnetic force, strong and weak interaction force, the 4 fundamental forces are the power I control, my eternal crown, and my immortal throne. Ignorant and foolish creatures call me a tyrant, but wise men regard me as their king. Some are terrified of me, others worship me, and they all submit to me. The gods tremble under my wings, and the worlds are afraid of my roar. The world respects me as the Emperor of the End, Emperor Saga, Saga Gatangia Atrix Diablo Nexus Targaryen Arceus. Chapter 46, The Jackal Attacks You Now Fangs. As the bear man told him the key points of life control one by one, Attilan finally understood why he had to teach himself healing and brain activation skills first, because without mastering these 2 prerequisite skills, he would not be able to light up life control. The slogan for learning life control is to control yourself first, then control the enemy. But controlling yourself is a very difficult practice, especially for a dragon. If the brain capacity is insufficient, it is impossible to fully record the data of the dragon body in the mind. Attilan is still in the dragon stage, his body is still growing at a high speed, his data will change with growth, and his practice will also constantly change his body data, day by day. Compared with physical torture, what makes dragons more uncomfortable is mental torture. When you have a peerless martial arts in front of you, you will experience unspeakable pain if you practice it, and you will regret it for the rest of your life if you don't practice it. What do you choose? Practice like being struck by thunder is commonplace for druids who practice life control. Attilan couldn't help but ask curiously, Master, do you often use thunder to temper your body? No, the thunder here doesn't have much effect on me. I usually create thunder and lightning myself to stimulate my body functions. Only thunder and lightning created from the inside can temper the body best. What is lame? This simple sentence contains the pain of burning all the internal organs, and it is so understated. In order to achieve good results in cultivation, The bear man will definitely use the power of thunder and lightning. The pain can be imagined. And Attilan may be sure that Laude must have maintained a clear will under such extreme pain, and practiced life control according to the method just taught to him. Long couldn't help but take a breath. Master, you didn't take the initiative to transform yourself into a bear man. There are indeed some druids who think that the form of beastman is more helpful for them to understand nature, and actively seek the beast curse to transform themselves into beastmen. Of course, they all chose bearmen. The origin of this practice is that bearmen became druids, or druids were accidentally cursed by bearmen and found that this form was more helpful for druid practice. Then this peculiar practice was passed down. Of course, before the transformation, apprentices usually undergo the test of the master, and only after passing the test can they be transformed into bearmen. That was before I joined the school of life. Because my talent is not high, only my willpower is pretty good, so I heard that resisting the beast curse and the 3 forms after transformation are helpful for practice. I decisively found a local respected bear druid to become his apprentice. The beastmen bearmen resist the curse, and over time they can switch freely between the 3 forms of bear, bearman, and human. It can be said to be a natural animal school. Attilan continued to ask curiously, then why did you join the school of life again? It was a full moon night. At that time, I couldn't completely suppress the beast curse. I met a difficult opponent in an unfamiliar forest, a 2-headed ogre. The 2-headed ogre was difficult enough to deal with. He also awakened the ability to cast spells, and I was still troubled by the curse of the full moon night, but I was the winner in the end. My master saw everything. He thought I was the most suitable person to inherit the control of life. He forced me to join the school of life. Out of curiosity about the school of life and the dwarf druids, I agreed. After entering, I realized that the control of life was too difficult. He couldn't find a suitable successor and had been running around until he met me who had nothing but willpower. Attilan was silent. So is it the tradition of their school to trick people into going up the mountain? No wonder the bear man was so direct when he accepted him as a disciple. He knew he couldn't refuse. Besides, who said that outstanding willpower is not a unique talent, just a dwarf druid? Druids generally don't use metal products, so why did the master become a druid? Hearing this, the bear man sighed helplessly and said, he accidentally let it slip when he was comforting me that he was once a carefree hunter, until he was spotted by the 2nd-generation master while hunting in the frost forest and was forced to become a druid. Inheritance from generation to generation, this is the spiritual core of our school of life. It seems that I will have to force an elf to change his job to become a druid in the future, otherwise I will be sorry for his pain over the years. Especially life control, you must teach it to my apprentice. Attilan said this unconsciously, but he didn't expect the bear man to be very excited and trembled with his hands and said, yes, that's what he said at the beginning. He worked so hard to learn life control, and it must not be lost. The source of all evil is the 1st-generation ocean dragon, who forced the 2nd-generation elf master to learn the life control she developed. The tradition of tricking people to go up the mountain was also passed down by him. After listening to the secrets of the sect, Attilan seemed to understand why the bear man had to accept him, and directly taught him the most difficult life control. This tradition started from the 3rd-generation dwarf. The 2nd generation had several elf apprentices, but unfortunately none of them were good enough. When the dwarf came, in order to test his talent, the 2nd generation simply started to teach him from life control. Even if he couldn't learn life control, learning other secret arts of the school would be twice as effective with half the effort. After the dwarf became a legendary druid, he did the same when he accepted apprentices. The bear man was not his first apprentice, but he was the first apprentice to escape the torture of life control. So master, am I your first apprentice? Yes, I don't like to accept apprentices in my life. If there's anything I need, I can just let the younger generation of druids help with experiments. They are also happy to accept my guidance, but the ocean dragon is an exception. There is a cause for every effect. The evil done by the ancestors 1 or 2,000 years ago finally came back to him, a poor lost ocean dragon hatchling. When he returned to Kingland Town for dinner, Attilan was a little dazed. No, Dragon Lord is not well. Attilan angrily hit the ground with his tail. I'm fine. He looked closely and saw that it was 2 little fishmen running back in panic. It's not the Dragon Lord, it's the gnolls. During our training today, we advanced 50 miles along the river for half a day and found a group of gnolls who killed a goblin tribe. After they killed the goblins, they fed the goblins to a very ugly dog they brought with them. As a result, The dog's body suddenly began to twist after eating the goblins and turned into Null. Now they are still hunting other tribes in our direction. We roughly calculated the number of Nulls, and their number has exceeded 200. Attilan narrowed his eyes slightly. The Yinoga fangs that can transform hyenas into Nulls. I didn't expect that there would be such a dangerous existence in the desert. Don't be afraid, let them eat, pull back, wait for Mep and Lista to come back, summon all the Minotaur and Fishmen who can fight to go out together, and kill these damn Nulls in one go, especially the Yinoga fangs. The demon lord Yinogu put the demon spirit into the human world to possess the Nulls, so that he has the ability that Yinogu originally transformed hyenas into Nulls. The Nulls are not important. What is important is to find all the Yinao fangs and kill them first. Please vote for the monthly ticket, please read, please recommend, please comment, please reward. Chapter 47, Inviting Friends. Attilan regarded all the tribes living in the wasteland as his potential followers, but the cultivated farmland was too small and the land was too thin, so he could not afford to support too many people and soldiers. Now the Nulls suddenly invaded the north in a big way. If this group of demon followers who only knew how to destroy killed all the tribes in the wasteland, Attilan would not be able to find people to cultivate the wasteland. What's more, the most disgusting thing about the Nulls is that as evil creatures created by demons, they will destroy all civilized and vibrant areas, and the demonic power they carry will also pollute the natural environment. The former can still be tolerated. Even if the Nulls set fire to the forest, it will grow again one day, but if the land is polluted by the power of the demon, it will really die. Polluted areas are also easy for demons to use to open time and space gates to sneak across. The Nulls rarely act in a big way. When they wander in the wilderness, they only dare to attack weak tribes and villages. They probably can't take down the town with walls. Attilan felt that 200 Nulls were too few for a tribe like this that was being watched by the demon lord Yunao and had fangs that could wipe out the goblin tribe. Yunao must be planning something by actively expanding the number of Nulls. The demon lord's invasion of the human world broke the balance of nature, so the druids must intervene. Attilan reported directly to the bear man. Master, what do you think? The bear man tapped the table lightly. Do as you think. If Yunao really tries to descend on the human world again, the Natural Council will not just watch Yunao make small moves behind the scenes. The bear man said so Attilan naturally had to do something big. He relied on three things to get out there: friends. 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 Attilan first found the Eagle King. The most promising young druid should be the Eagle King. Although the storm eagle he cultivated was not yet mature, it was already a result that could be shown off. The size of the giant owls, combined with the wind elements they attracted when flying to form a hurricane, would certainly terrify the Nulls whose intelligence was as low as 6. At this time, the Nulls with calm expressions were either the leaders or the Yinao fangs, which made it convenient for Attilan to judge and defeat them first. The Eagle King thought that Attilan was coming to practice with him, but he opened his mouth and said, "Eagle King, take your storm eagle and come with me. I naturally need your help." The Eagle King didn't believe it at all. "Stop it, what do you want me to do? These storm eagles are not mature yet and cannot participate in the battle. There is a group of Nulls releasing demonic power to pollute nature. Can you tolerate it?" "I know you can't tolerate it." The Eagle King hesitated to speak, and Attilan didn't give him a chance to interrupt. "Besides, isn't it a kind of active natural selection to let the immature ones participate in the war? Let those giant eagles who are really useless be eliminated in this battle. Don't worry, the task I assigned to you is not heavy. They don't need to fight the jackwalls in close combat. If they are killed in this way, it has nothing to do with me." You are right in the end. Although I know that Attilan is all perverse, it is really intolerable that the jackwalls pollute nature. In addition, the new concept proposed by Attilan really makes the Eagle King's eyes light up. He wants to try. "I will go to summon the storm giant eagles." "When will we set out?" "Don't worry, I will quickly go to the forest to summon everyone. You go to Kingland Town and wait for me first. Let's discuss a suitable time to send troops together." The second one is Leopard Girl. She is obviously from the School of Animals, but she is observing the birth of the shadow leopard. The main point is a jumping off topic. When they arrived at the territory of the forest leopard, before Attilan spoke, Leopard Girl spoke first. "Have you made the obsidian spear?" Attilan then remembered that he had indeed boasted that he could make a better obsidian spear than the one in Leopard Woman's hand, but he had been busy with his thesis before. He was busy with the totem war dance, and the unimportant obsidian spear was completely forgotten. Now that it was suddenly mentioned, Attilan said calmly, I completely forgot about the spear in Kingland Town. Now the spear is not important. What is important is that the Null slaughter living beings, and ye now Fangs continue to expand the number of their tribes. As druids, we naturally have to stand up. Master is watching us from behind. Speaking of the bear man, leopard woman was in awe. Do you want me to bring everyone with me? Looking at the surrounding forest leopards, which were 2 meters and 5 meters long when they were adults, Attilan felt that they could bite ordinary Nulls to death with one bite. Okay, it is indeed necessary to gather more troops to prevent the Nulls from escaping. The news of this operation must not be leaked. Attilan keenly felt that there were bigger problems waiting in the desert. Let the leopard girl go to Kingland Town to wait for the meeting, and Attilan continued to rush to the next one. The wine girl, the flower girl, the bear man, and Tarzan also actively responded to Attilan's call. In order to maintain the balance of nature, everyone is determined to work together to eliminate the evil Null tribe. When they heard that they had to hold a meeting first, the wine girl took her newly brewed wine and went to Kingland Town. The flower girl also brought her brewed honey and newly cultivated flowers, intending to share them with everyone. The bear man didn't really want to go. When the Nulls arrived in the forest, he could trample all the Nulls to death with a charge with a brown bear. Now he had to travel hundreds of kilometers to the wilderness to eradicate evil. Druids don't care about such a wide range, right? But everyone is a friend, how can the bear man not help? Tarzan actually cultivated a kind of monkey that is good at throwing. Both arms are full of muscles, and the palms are even below the knees. A 5-kilogram stone thrown out is as powerful as a small trebuchet. Originally, he wanted to cultivate a monkey that could wrestle with him, but he accidentally created a throwing monkey. The throwing monkey's melee ability is also good. If they are given a long wooden stick, they can let the jackal see their brains. The most unforgettable thing is the old man and the centaur. How can the centaur tribe be absent from such an important forest team building? The Eagle King sent 15 storm giant eagles and Tarzan 20 throwing monkeys. The bear man bluntly sent 21 earth demon bears. The bear paws touched the ground to absorb energy and restore their meager vitality. It was obviously 100,000 miles away from the earth demon bears, but he could brag confidently. He is also a talent. The leopard woman's 30 forest leopards came out in full force. The flower girl took the flower spirit and a tree spirit to heal the wounds. The wine girl had no partners, so she could only support a batch of fruit wine to resist the erosion of the devil's power, and at the same time took care of the celebratory wine. The only unaware old centaur was sandwiched among the group of young people present. He thought it was a banquet, but it suddenly turned into a fight against jackals. Senior, Master supports me in this operation. The old centaur could only grit his teeth and said, I will let the Horse King take 20 warriors to participate in this operation. How can 20 be enough? This is a good opportunity to experiment with the totem war dance. At least 100 centaurs are suitable, excluding the old and weak. There are 70 minotaurs and 30 murlocs who can participate in the battle on Attilan's side. If the number of centaurs is not enough, they will not be able to completely wipe out the jackals. We can't let you now Fang go. Fight for nature, for nature. Then 100, but after the battle you must help me perfect the centaur totem war dance with all your heart. Especially Attilan, this is the topic you proposed. How can you just start and ignore it? Please read, please vote for the monthly ticket, please reward, please recommend, please comment, please everything. Chapter 48 I haven't even started yet, how come it's over? Including the druids, there were a total of 300 animal armies, including cattle, horses, sheep, fish, bears, monkeys, leopards, and eagles. Gather in Bighorn Town in 3 days, march into the wilderness to wipe out the jackals. Looking at the heroic Attilan, the Eagle King asked puzzledly, we will take action in 3 days, so what are we doing now? Hold a banquet. The leopard woman, who was crazy about the crowd, had been drooling over the honey and fruit wine for a long time, and she could eat a lot. Attilan asked the fish man to serve the dishes, and the old man took the opportunity to take out the centaur totem war dance he had collected during this period, and distributed the trial results and the shortcomings he found to everyone. Everyone, take a look and tell us your suggestions for improvement. I am the initiator of the project, and my opinions are the most important. Attilan had to support him. The old man contributed the most, and he said this just to warm up the scene. Sure enough, the leopard woman, who is most easily stimulated, stood up. My suggestions are no worse than yours, Everyone discussed the problems encountered by the centaur totem war dance while eating. The fisherman reported that a particularly large giant horned deer had arrived, saying that it was invited to the banquet. The Eagle King smiled and stood up and said, "Since this is an action by the younger generation to purify nature, I also notified Bighorn and Sharp Fang brothers. It seems that Bighorn has finished his work. The more people who participate in the action, the better. Attilan initiated this action, but it will be carried out in 3 days. Isn't it just to get these druids on his pirate ship? How could he complain about too many people?" From a distance, a giant horned deer nearly 4 meters long and more than 2 meters tall at the shoulder was seen. Its size was comparable to that of a van. Attilan had to spread its wings to cover the momentum of the giant horned deer. After all, Attilan's wings were as wide as a double lane. "Come and taste the skills of the fishman chef." "Okay," Bighorn said in a low voice, and while speaking, he turned into a 2-meter-tall, strong man wearing deerskin. Attilan likes friends like the Eagle King who actively recruit more druids to participate in activities. As soon as Bighorn sat down, he said generously, "I will provide 20 moose. If the moose have not recovered from the disease, I can send out 40 or 50 moose, so that everyone can see the majestic scene of the Bighorn moose charging. Raising too many moose will destroy the natural balance of the forest, so it's just right to consume some. Leave the extra to me. Venison is the most nutritious, and you can leave it to me if you encounter this problem. No matter what kind of meat, Attilan can find a suitable cooking method." The leopard girl glared at her. Leopard is so cute. How can you eat leopard?" Soon the fishman came in to report the 2 halflings riding mastiffs had come, the sharp-toothed brothers. Attilan asked the Eagle King, "Are there no others yet? The others either don't like fighting, or the animals they bred are not good at fighting, so I didn't notify them." The druids who could come were all extroverts. How could an introverted socially anxious druid take the initiative to attend a banquet hosted by strangers? But he seemed to need those socially anxious druids more. The Fang brothers greeted everyone warmly. The leopard girl asked about the escaped golden crocodile, and the tooth brother ruffled his hair in frustration. "I'm so annoyed. I just found 1.5. 1.5 is, 1 alive, and the other half was eaten, so it's this half." Ho, the leopard girl covered her stomach and laughed out loud. The depressed tooth brother drank 3 glasses of wine, and Brother Fang tried to persuade him. "Don't get drunk. I heard that we are going to fight against the gnolls. I remember when I was a kid, the village was attacked by the gnolls and my brothers were almost eaten by them. This time, we must kill all the gnolls no matter what. I will dispatch all the fighting mastiffs to ensure that the gnolls are completely wiped out." Brother Yat also echoed, "Yes, all my crocodiles will also be dispatched to avenge the village." Another big gulp of wine went down. Many halflings were killed and injured in the village that year, and the 2 brothers have always buried that hatred in their hearts. "Everyone gather here, there is nothing we can't do." "Cheers!" Attilan shouted generously, grabbed the wine glass and drank it all. "Cheers!" The fruit wine of the wine girl and the wine brewed by Attilan were all drunk, and most of the druids were drunk. Yoja even advised his brother to drink less, but he got drunk first. He changed his previous calmness and stood on the bench and roared recklessly, 200 gnolls are nothing. Why should we prepare for 3 more days? We are summoning animal companions to attack now. It will be midnight when we arrive at the gnoll camp. Can they withstand a direct surprise attack? I agree." Leopard Girl was the first to raise her hand in agreement. Before Attilan could persuade them to calm down, they staggered to their feet and went back to summon animal companions, except Old Man Horse. "Eagle King, isn't this too hasty? If he lost the winning situation because of an impulsive attack due to drunkenness, how could he drag them on board? What's more, his most capable Torn chieftain hadn't come back yet." Old Man Horse took a puff of cigarette and said with a smile, "Don't worry, they should be sober by the time we gather in Bighorn Town." Okay then. At dusk, the satyrs came back with food. "Why is there such a commotion in the forest?" Speaking of going to fight the gnolls, the satyr rolled up his sleeves. "Leave it to me. What you now, Fang? I can kill him with a wild boar chariot." "Wake up, you haven't drunk yet. How come you're already drunk? Did a goatman wanderer charge headlong and get his head pushed by a wild boar? Do you want to listen to what you're saying? The one pulling the chariot is the wild boar, not Lista." The satyr could only touch his head and smile awkwardly. In the middle of the night in Bighorn Town, after sobering up, everyone was a little embarrassed about the big talk they said at noon. Yinao Fang is at least a monster with a challenge level of 4. And because of the demon spirits in their bodies, They generally have a high level of demon warlocks. Commanding 200 gnolls who are also infected by demonic power is like commanding their own arms. If they act rashly, not to mention their animal companions, even their lives will be in danger. Everyone should drink less alcohol at the party in the future. I'll bring fruit for everyone, the barmaid spoke to break the stiff atmosphere, and everyone quickly agreed. Yes, drinking will delay things. Then shall we fight tonight, Attilan? What do you think? Attilan's eyes were determined. Fight. We must fight. Now that we are here, we don't have to be afraid of just 200 gnolls if we make careful arrangements. As for Yi Nao Fang, leave it to this satyr. The satyr swallowed his saliva. Would he really let him kill Yi Nao Fang? You are responsible for finding him, and the task of shooting him to death is left to the Horse King. That's good. The satyr was obviously relieved. Late at night, everyone was divided into 4 groups and surrounded the gnoll camp silently. The Horse King in the south near the desert led the centaurs and fishmen to shoot a round of arrows first, and the Minotaur chieftain led the Minotaur to charge. The gnolls screamed in panic after being shot by arrows. The chieftain rushed into the camp waving an axe like a demon descending to the world, and split 3 gnolls in half with one axe. The centaurs and murlocs also charged, and countless gnolls were knocked to death or trampled to death. After just one round of charging, there were only a few gnolls left in the camp. The druids who were ambushing the other 3 parties and were responsible for clearing out the fleeing gnolls looked at each other in bewilderment. We won. How come? The gnolls are so weak. How come it's over before they even got on the field? Attilan landed beside them and asked in confusion. Something's wrong. Have you seen Yi Nao's fangs? Sorry, because my grandfather has been ill recently. I'm taking care of him today. I've been revising what I wrote because I'm not satisfied with it, so the update is over. Sorry. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, Druid Keeps His Promise. The druids from 3 directions said that they had not seen any gnolls escape from the camp. Either Yi Nao's fangs were still hidden in the camp, or there were no fangs at all. Now the only way was to ask the remaining gnolls where Yi Nao's fangs were. Attilan immediately flew to the camp. Eagle King, you take the giant eagle to watch from the sky, and the others who can heal follow me. At this moment in the camp, the tauren carried axes and totem poles, and the centaurs held spears, looking for living gnolls one by one to finish off the enemy. Spare them. Leave all the living gnolls alive. I have something to ask them. There was not a single intact gnoll to be found. The one in the best condition had half an arm missing, and it became like this after being rubbed by the chief's axe that was slashing in all directions. Drag them away and kill them. This was too stupid to ask useful questions, but there was a bloody gnoll with a desire for life in his eyes, as if he knew that Attilan was the dragon who could save him. Attilan brought him to the pile of gnoll corpses nearby and gave him a healing spell so that he could have the strength to answer questions. Where is Yi Nao Fang? Tell me, I can heal your wounds and give you a chance to live. The druid will not break his promise. Faced with Attilan's bewitching words, the gnoll betrayed his superior without hesitation. Originally, there were 2 fangs leading us. The old fang was summoned back by the king, leaving only the new fang to lead us to continue to expand the number of our tribe. Just now in the panic, I seem to see him hiding. Why do you want to continue to expand the number of your tribe? The king needs manpower to find the treasure. If you get the treasure, you will have the powerful power to rule the entire desert. Then we gnolls can destroy as much as we want. A treasure that is powerful enough to rule an entire desert? Then the forces that covet the treasure must not only be the gnolls. It is certain that all the major forces in the desert will be involved. Attilan thinks this is a good opportunity for him to occupy the entire desert and develop. The total area of the desert is less than 4,000 square kilometers. Even if Attilan extends the basin of the southwest river through the Kanats, the greening of the desert will not exceed 10,000 square kilometers. Although the desert is hundreds of thousands of square kilometers, the green area controlled by other forces may not exceed it. When he grows up, the competition for treasure should be clear. By then, he can not only unify the desert, but also get a rare treasure. The plan is successful. I will cure you and let you go after I prove that you did not lie to me. Huanu and Yajek kept the lives of several other jackals alive. Yoja asked curiously, did you find out anything? Did you find the Yinoga Fang? We need to compare the confessions of the remaining jackwalls to know whether he lied to me. Except for these two, there is no need to treat the others, who Anu looked at the jackwalls in front of her puzzled. She felt that they were all the same. Why did Attilan see the difference between them at a glance? How did you tell them apart? The difference in brain vitality between Intelligence 6 and Intelligence 8 is too obvious. If Attilan hadn't started practicing life control, he wouldn't have been able to see it easily. You can use fairy magic to charm them and they will understand. They are all going to die anyway, so being able to contribute to the druid practice before death is considered as accumulating blessings for their next life. I hope they have the chance to start over again. It's a pity that their souls polluted by demonic power can only be reincarnated in the bottomless abyss, so Attilan wishes them a chance to become demon lords and come back to seek revenge on him. Sure enough, the flower girl cast a charm magic, and the two intelligence wolves showed completely different expressions on their faces. The flower girl changed to control a magic, and the wolf with intelligence 6 was extremely smooth to control. Proving the problem through the result is not the answer that the flower girl wants. What she wants to know is how Attilan saw it directly. We'll talk about this later. Let's find Yu Nao Fang first. Unexpectedly, the jackwall this time was quite tough, or cunning. He didn't think Attilan would let him go. Since they were all going to die, it was better not to say anything. Brother Ya, I remember that the School of Animals has a spell called memory reading. Do you know how to use it? Brother Ya shook his head. Memory reading is a very difficult spell to master. He did try to practice it before, but it failed as expected. Unexpectedly, Leopard Girl also ran over at some point. At this moment, she raised her hand proudly and said with a smile, I know how to use it. It's not that Attilan didn't believe it, but it was because memory reading was a very delicate spell, which didn't fit Leopard Girl's usual rough and forgetful style. Let's do this. Leopard Girl will use memory reading to check this one, and I'll use charm magic to get the other one to talk. Attilan agreed with this plan. He didn't wait long. Leopard Girl and Flower Girl both gave answers. Yu Nao Fang didn't escape, but was hiding in a corner of the camp. Attilan checked all the null corpses left in the camp, and none of them had any signs of life. If Venom Fang was not pretending to be dead, then he must have relied on the magic of the demon warlock to hide his tracks. Attilan had a way to find him. Attilan flew into the sky, and the rain of grace fell evenly on the former null camp. The vitality contained in the rain allowed the grass sprouts to drill out of the soil. There was an area where Attilan clearly felt the subtle disharmony of the life connected to him through the rain of grace, a stone standing on the ground. Attilan directly charged the stone with the most powerful lightning breath. For normal life, the lightning breath of the ocean dragon can stimulate the growth of vitality to a certain extent, but for evil life, this effect is more fatal. A puff of white smoke came out of the stone, which was a sign that the power of the devil was purified, just like holy water to the devil, and the disguise magic of Yanoga Venom Fang was also cracked by the lightning breath. An ugly null rolled on the ground in pain. Whatever you want to know, I can tell you. How many Yu Nao Fangs do you have? How many nulls have you converted? 20 fangs. When I left, there were more than 4,000 nulls. Now there may be more than 5,000. The null knelt on the ground and kowtowed repeatedly. I've told you everything I know. Can you let me go? I'm sorry, I don't think I promised to let you go just now. A bright lightning struck the null. How could Attilan let go of this demon fang that could quickly increase the number of nulls? Summoning lightning and then spitting out lightning breath, the demon spirit must be purified. Huanu and Yaja also saw the opportunity and released purification magic on the black smoke coming out of the null's body. The demon spirit, which was already a candle in the wind, dissipated directly. He neatly used his tail to roll up a scattered spear and stabbed the two nulls who were trying to trick him to death. He handed the spear to the bloody Minotaur chieftain and came to the null he promised to let go. Attilan really cured him. The null looked at the dragon in front of him with half belief and half doubt. Go away. The druid keeps his promise. The null turned around and rolled, but he didn't run far before a whistling spear pierced his chest. I said I won't kill you. Everyone remember to read it on Tuesday, please. Chapter 50, the dragon's body trembled and it bowed its head. As the nulls were killed, the demonic power in their blood began to infiltrate the soil. Attilan decisively proposed, why don't we deal with the bodies of these nulls first to avoid polluting the wasteland? As for the 4,000 nulls active in the desert, I think we still need to make long-term plans. We must face the reality. With our current strength and troops, it is completely impossible to fight against 4,000 nulls. It is safer to take a defensive posture. The bear man frowned and said, but we and our animal companions can't stay in the wasteland for a long time. It's better to leave spies to monitor the situation in the wasteland. If the gnolls invade the wasteland again, it's better for us to gather together and defeat them. Everyone agreed with the bear man's opinion. It's okay to delay for a day or two, but everyone has some research in the forest that is still in progress. It will affect the practice if they delay for a long time. In fact, everyone feels that they have not yet learned the natural balance system of the forest built by the bears. It is easy to make mistakes if they rashly intervene in the wasteland to build a new natural balance system. Attilan's eyes turned and a plan came to his mind. Let's put it this way. I have an idea. The wasteland is the wasteland of the creatures in the wasteland. Today, we rely on the majesty of the druids and animal companions to integrate the remaining creatures in the wasteland to build a line of defense. What do you think? I think it's okay. The old man was the first to agree. He could always feel Attilan's covetousness for their tribe. He was still quite averse to working for the dragon and hoped that the centaur tribe could live their own lives in peace. Even his cousin's tribe, if it was not necessary, he didn't want to push them into the fire pit. Yes, the wasteland is their home, and they should protect it by themselves. The bear man agreed very much. If the tribe in the wasteland has the strength to resist the wolf army, then does it mean that he doesn't need to go out next time there is a wolf invasion? Everyone thinks it makes sense. Even the sharp-toothed brothers who hate the wolves agree to do this. That is, the next time there is a wolf invasion, they must call them. Just now, their brothers took advantage of the chaos and shot 2 wolves to death with bows and arrows, which was not enough. Brother Yer lamented that his crocodile was too slow to move on land. He gave up letting the crocodile participate in this battle and rushed to the battlefield alone. Brother, do you think I should breed a crocodile that can run fast on land? Gnolls also need to drink water. Why not let your crocodile attack the gnolls in the river? Attilan could only say that the 2 brothers had a deep hatred for the gnolls. If they were like this, then other halflings might be like this too. Then he could recruit a group of halflings to work in the wasteland. Eagle King, please let the giant eagle see which tribes are still in the wasteland. No problem. The Eagle King transformed himself, flapped his wings and flew into the sky. With an eagle cry, he commanded the storm giant eagle to scatter and look for tribes. The first one found was a tribe of more than 100 people. All the members, young and old, could be considered combatants, so they had not yet become the target of the gnolls. The hyenas that were just killed were left with only a few. Yinao Fang was recalled, probably to collect a new batch of hyenas for transformation. Facing Attilan's coalition, the centaurs were fully armed and on alert. The leader ran to Attilan with a spear and shouted, "What do you want to do?" The old centaur saw the centaur's leader and his eyes lit up, and he offered to hand him over to him. Although this leader is not as good as the Horse King, he is a good talent after training. At least he can curb Attilan's desire for their tribe. The old centaur stepped forward and told the leader about the problem of the hyenas. Unexpectedly, the leader snorted coldly and shot the old centaur directly. The Horse King had been on alert, and seeing this, he also drew his bow and shot an arrow, and shot the arrow shot by the leader in 2 pieces. Everyone present exclaimed and cheered. Godly shooting. After this arrow was shot, the centaur's leader instantly lowered his proud head. I am willing to lead my people to submit to your tribe, but you must give my people the same treatment as your people. At least give us a chance to fight for it. It is not shameful to join the tribe of the strong, but the old horse does not intend to expand the scale of the tribe. Friends who often raise horses know that the cost of raising a horse can feed 5 people, and the cost of raising a horse will double again. There are 300 or 400 horses in the tribe, and it is enough for the old horse to feed them. No, we are not here to annex you. Of course, in order to defend against the gnolls, the druids will train you and provide you with some rations. The centaur leader understood that the old horse meant to recruit them as a subsidiary tribe, and that they were not led by the old horse's tribe, but by the group of people and dragons in front of them who exuded the natural forest atmosphere. How come there are dragons? If he had been told that there were dragons earlier, wouldn't he have surrendered directly? Just now, Yinao Fang was caught by life control. Attilan found that Fang's spell of disguising a stone was quite clever, but Fang was not proficient. Of course, the high-end skill of life control is also one aspect. As a dragon with a dream of being an assassin, Attilan tried to use life control to simulate camouflage. Then he thought, since he could hide his breath, could he amplify it? The answer is of course yes. As long as it is a skill related to life, You can try to develop it after learning life control. If ordinary people learn life control, they can also use it to imitate dragon power. The centaur leader happened to see Attilan, who was not in control, and suddenly released his dragon power, and was shocked at once. He will be the one who will be directly responsible for communicating with you in the future. It's my honor. The centaur leader nodded respectfully to Attilan. The pollution of the jackals has reached the middle of the wasteland. The land ahead needs to be governed to restore its original vitality. Because the jackals did not specifically pollute, the soil pollution is not too serious. Even if it is left alone, the soil will recover on its own in 3 to 5 years. It is just that during this period, after eating the plants grown in the soil, the animals will be more irritable. The second tribe is the kobolds. Because of their weak strength, kobolds are dragon-like creatures that look a little like thin dogs. The kobolds excel in their reproduction and civil engineering abilities. Although most kobolds cannot live for more than 10 years, if they grow wings, they can still live for hundreds of years. This group of kobolds numbered more than 300. Attilan activated his dragon power and appeared in front of them. He roared, and the kobolds knelt on the ground one after another. Everyone come out. I will recruit you. Yes, Lord Dragon. The happiest thing in the life of the kobolds is that a giant dragon is willing to accept their allegiance. Because they cannot fight, they are despised by most evil dragons. Attilan also recruited kobolds because there were druids willing to help grow food. Otherwise, he would not plan to build a city now, so why would he recruit kobolds? With the kobolds, he can start building cannons. Everyone remember to read on Tuesday. Please vote for the monthly ticket, recommend the ticket, give a reward, and read on. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.